you can't wish for, I think, a better teammate than f0rest. Like he's just works really well with a team. He's mature, but at the same time loves having fun. As I said earlier, he's probably feels like he's the youngest person in the team when we're on TeamSpeak and just fooling around. And he's obviously a god of CS, so I'm super happy to have been able to play with him for many years in my career now, and to get to play with him again in Dignitas now is just
Add some fun to your space with Xtrfy, designed in Sweden with focus on quality products built on experience. You're looking at Project 4, their 4th generation of products with super cool colorways to stand out, with matching sets to satisfy with a solid B4 bungee, lightweight ergonomic M4 mouse, the K4 keyboard is fantastic, all of which are performance focused, and finish it off with colorful GP4 mouse mats that are bold in design and smooth on the surface. The retro theme in particular has got the feels. Complete your setup with Xtrfy. No regrets, guaranteed.
Fist bumps go to the teammates.
I wanna see you falling fast. Win the round. Win the game.
Parry Match, your esports teammate. Stuck ranking up? Lost the motivation to grind? Bored of clicking heads on aim maps? Get some color into your game. Bitskins.com. Buying and selling skins made easy. Tons of payment methods and instant cash outs. Just choose your dream skins, select your preferred payment method, and start grinding again. If you want to play like the pros, you gotta look like the pros.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to HLTV Confirmed. We're back again with another episode. I'm going to guess that it's episode 55, 55, 55, 56, 55, or 56. Somewhere in the 50s. Now, if you ever get to that age, guys, congratulations. I don't know if I'm going to make it, but you've made it to tonight's show, and we're going to talk Counter-Strike as you would bloody expect. It is a Thursday. I've lost track of the days. I hope you at home are feeling good too. And let's get the housekeeping out of the way first and foremost. Let's thank our lovely, lovely sponsors who make this one possible every single day of the week. We've got Parry Match. Make sure you gamble responsibly if you want to check them out. We've got Xtrfy. If you need, a mouse, a keyboard, mouse pad, they got all that good stuff. Check them out as well. And then most recently, we have Bitskins. They're the edition. They got some skins, and we do a nice little giveaway with them in the game show variety. That one's coming up in not too long a ways. Also, anchor.fm/HLTV, right? That's where you go to find the podcast. If you want to look at it in the Spotify's, the Apples, the Google Poddies, all those different kinds, they have a bunch I've never even heard of. I don't know who uses those ones. If you do, maybe let us know. There's stats. They have stats. We can know. We can find it out, and we will find it out, and we'll find your name. All right. Tonight, we're going to get straight into the business. Lucas.
Yes.
Oh, okay. What's with the tone?
Nothing.
Okay, all right. This is getting weird. Lucas is here, everybody, as you would hope. We need someone to push the buttons. Prof, mate.
Yeah.
I like your shirt. What's on it?
It's like a plant thing.
A plant
plants.
thing. You like plants?
Not particularly. I
All
got
right.
it from my girlfriend, and she likes plants, so.
And you're wearing a shirt your girlfriend bought you because...
I mean, it looks nice, but I wouldn't buy it. I'd probably just buy like a white one.
Okay, all right.
But when you get one, it's like, it actually looks nice, so.
You got to wear it. All right.
Yeah.
Striker, do you wear anything that anyone's bought you?
Like right now or in general?
Just in general. Maybe you got a favorite pair of socks that someone bought you?
Yeah, actually, yeah, like Christmas socks.
Christmas socks. All right.
Everybody just like disappeared for me, and
you just disappeared for
okay,
us. So we're going to say it's probably a you thing, but we'll get you back in a second. And we'll just keep it moving because I want to get this one underway ASAP. Lucas, roll the bumper. Let's get friberg involved. We're back. Are we back? All right, we're back. I'm feeling a little bit loopy here this evening, guys. I just want to make that clear. But I want to get this one underway, like I said, straight away in the hot seat with the man himself, the king of banana, the legend from the 87-0 NIP. It's Adam Friberg. I want everybody up on their feet right now. Stand up. Profit strike. They didn't stand up. I'm sorry, Adam. Normally I have them better trained than this.
Kind of hard for me to
I normally have them much better trained than this. But Adam, long time no speak. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing all good. A lot of grinding CS lately.
Okay, as we would expect, I suppose. Now, I'll give a little bit more context because some of the people in the YouTube comments who watch our stuff, they're not hardcore Counter-Strike fans, and they go, Sponge, can you give us a bit of an introduction? Now, I gave the introduction to do with your legendary history. If those people aren't familiar, Friberg, a member of the NIP team that is legendary from back in the 2013s, 14s, all that kind of good stuff. But in more recent times, obviously, we had the heroic stuff. I think it was like 2019. But obviously now it's Dignitas, and you're over there in Dignitas. You guys reformed what was that legendary NIP team, even with Fifi over there as the coach. You had Hauser because you're young little star. But a lot of chopping and changing has happened since then, right? So I think that's maybe where we will kick things off here this evening with our questions for you. So you had the whole team that you guys brought back together to try and see if you could get that magic going. But then obviously additions have had to happen, right? We've got Lecro in the mix. We've got HEAP in the team. And the squad has vENdetta now as the full-time coach, right? And we don't have Fifi involved in that level anymore. He's now doing more managerial stuff. Have I hit everything on the head there?
Yes, pretty spot on, yeah.
Okay. So in terms of these changes and moving away from, when Xizt is gone, when Get Right's gone, when all those things are happening, were these things that you thought were going to be inevitable after the initial project didn't hit the traction that everybody was hoping for?
I mean, I think we started off fairly well when we brought back all the players. I remember we beat fnatic in I think it was like the Armor. It was it was early, and then I think the breaking point of our the team was kind of like when we went to Flashpoint. Halsterk didn't get a US visa. We brought in Guardian as a stand-in, and
that's right.
It was just like rough out there. We were in LA, away from our home. Most of us had girlfriends and stuff like that, and COVID hit, and we were like, "Are we going home? Are we staying? Are we going home? Are we staying?" So that was basically like 3 weeks of uncertainty. We played the first game in the studio, then we played the rest from our hotel. We had a stand-in, and in our minds, I don't think that we wanted to be there playing that tournament at the time. I think we wanted to go home, but it was just a weird point of time where we were in the midst of the whole Corona outbreak. We were on the other side of the world. Didn't know how we would get home, if we would get home. So yeah.
Sorry, Adam.
No, I think that was like after Flashpoint, it felt like, we didn't really bounce back. Like, we started off fairly well, as I said, but after Flashpoint, I think the team was kind of screwed. It felt like.
Was it hard to accept? Kind of, because obviously you had this whole reunion, right? You had a lot of people coming back together, a lot of hype around it, obviously, and it fairly quickly, it turned out that it wouldn't work that way. So how difficult was it just to kind of come to terms with that, I guess?
I think it was pretty tough. I think we wanted so much more, but then we were just okay, it ain't gonna work. Then again, how, where are we in our lives? Do we want to continue competing? Do people want to quit? And stuff like that? And I don't know. It just felt like we were on other, people had maybe not so much motivation at all points that we you need to spend so much time. I know this from when I played in Heroic and when I played in Optic after my tenure after NIP. I know that you have to play a lot of CS, and you have to do a lot of. You can't just join the server and expect to be a tier 1 team only because you have people on paper that's good. Especially when you don't have Insta invites to all the tournaments and stuff like that. If you have to play qualifiers and stuff like that all the time, it's gonna require a lot of commitment, a lot of weekends gone, a lot of evenings that you're gonna have to sit and play CS 24/7. So I think it was end of the team was basically after Flashpoint, especially we got so many problems with the team in Flashpoint, like things that maybe we wouldn't have had if we had our full team. And it was just that, like, we didn't feel like we could fix them, kind of. It was, I think it was f0rest who pulled the plug and basically said, all right, we're going to make changes. It's not working. Because we tried like a few months after Flashpoint as well.
Okay. Do you think the online environment played a big part in that? Or do you think it was just what you were saying, like people's priorities maybe weren't all on the same page? Or it was the bigger factor?
I think online has a lot to do with it, because it's very different playing online tournaments and LAN tournaments. Like when you travel to a LAN tournament, usually you get like a day or two off in between. When you're playing these online tournaments, it's basically you're ending the tournament on Sunday evening, and then your next tournament starts Monday morning. So it's
9 to 5.
It literally it's more than 9 to 5. Like we're still playing like insane hours, especially in all these small tournaments that's going on in the tier 2 scene.
So this is a little bit of a tangent, I suppose, but I'm curious. Compared to back in the day, right? Are you playing much more Counter-Strike now than you ever were?
Team-wise, I'd say yes. Individually wise, I'd say no.
Okay.
Like I think you're getting like doing more. What how to say? Like maybe DM sessions or like individual practice to instead of sitting a Friday evening and grinding Face It with your friends, basically.
Okay, all right. So more of the, I don't want to say it's not. It's I was gonna say the stuff that's not fun, but that stuff right there when it pays off and you've done that. It's more like the study, right? More okay. All right, so let's dive into some of the players a little bit more, I suppose, right? So. Obviously, you guys still have Geralt as part of the organization. He's doing all that streaming stuff over there for Dignitas. But we're losing Geralt. Now, we know that he, in terms of his role and the player that he once was and the player that in the modern game now, was losing Geralt one of the players that you thought you were going to be losing from this project, right? Did you think that he was going to be one to go, or was it going to be maybe he was going to stay around? Because like obviously you and f0rest hanging around, right? Halzerk, of course, he's still one of the younger guys. Did you think it was going to be multiple members when Fifi had pulled the plug?
I don't know. I didn't think like it's not easy to say. Like I thought we would do like as I said a lot better, but it could have literally just been anyone. And I feel like we were two good friends. It was f0rest and he was the coach, so I don't know. It could have been me. It could have been f0rest. It could have been like literally anyone from the team. I don't know. It was weird. Like we had so much. How to say? We had a lot bigger ideas on how the team were gonna be than what we actually did. So in the end, everyone kind of felt like, okay, something needs to be done. We're playing really bad right now. And then f0rest just said, okay, we're switching out to and he switched out Xizt and the Get Right.
Okay, all right. So the players you have now, right? We know lekr0, he came over from North. It feels like he's having a bit of a I don't want to say a second wind, right? I don't know. Did we ever feel like we get to see the best of lekr0, right? Like the absolute best of lekr0?
That's a good question. I feel, I almost like it was that like last phase in NIP was when he was at his best.
Yeah,
and then he was weirdly removed from the team, right? I feel like that was when he saw him perform fairly consistently on a very high level. We saw a lot of glimpses and like small like portions of lekr0 being good in different teams, but never really consistently on like a 3+ month base, I think.
So, lekr0 is the most recent addition, and before that was HEAP, right?
We added Harry and HEAP. That was replacing Get Right and Xizt. And then we replaced Harry with lekr0 earlier this year. I think it was. I can't remember.
Yeah. How did it go with Harry in particular? Because I remember this from the time, because he was kind of like from his previous team, but it was Nordavind, I think, right?
Yeah.
It was like kind of like removed and came back, removed, came back. It was like 4 times back and forth, kind of. So it seemed like it was such a weird player to add for your team. So what did you guys? How did that even go? What did you guys see in him at the time?
We felt like we needed more like an aggressive player, and we wanted a young player, a hungry player, and we found through Halzerk, and basically we played a lot with him. Like and Harry, I think Harry is a great player. It was just more like of a the reason why I don't think it worked out with him was more of a like how we wanted to play the game and like the small seconds of like we don't have time to talk reactions and stuff like that didn't work out. But he's a great player. Like put him on a like he's owning in his like 7-7-7 team, the Norwegian team. They're pulling some upsets against some pretty solid tier 2 teams right now, and he's like just carrying them. So he's definitely still like a super strong player, Harry. And but I don't know. For us, it felt like we needed one more player with some more experience, I'd say. And basically, when we got offered Lekro, and yeah, if I just said, do you guys want to make the change for Lekro? And we said like, yeah, I think we thought Lekro would make us this tiny bit better, like this tiny change what we needed in the right direction.
I have what's probably a little bit of a silly question here, but when you had Harry on the team, were you guys speaking Swedish?
Yeah.
I don't know how close the languages are, right? I know with all the Nords, like it's kind of close, and some can understand some. And okay, so you've been speaking like right now you're speaking Swedish, no dramas. All right, so the other one here, and this is curious, right? Because we've had many conversations over the years, and I think only now we're really starting to see the next Swedish gen making a bit more of a name for themselves, right? Do you think HEAP falls into that basket, right? He's an individual who I'm not too familiar with, right? He's a 21-year-old, so he's a kid really compared to the old boys like us, right? Is he something to keep our eyes on here for the Dignitas roster? Is he the next Swedish gen, you think?
Definitely. I think he's like the next superstar from Sweden, and wow, I'm super happy. Yeah, like I watching him play every day, spectating him, his aim, and like even matureness. I think like he learned really fast. He was like already fairly like well drilled when we started playing with him, testing him out. It literally took us like 2 practice games with him. We thought, yep, sign him. Like it was his communication super calm, super good in clutching. Aim is just insane, like HEAP peak everywhere. So give him a couple of more years, and or not even a few years, like he's definitely the next star from Sweden.
How did he get so good? Like he literally did not play in a team. He has at least HLTV level teams, maybe something on like ESCA Open. How did he become so good?
We were sitting and we were like, okay, we're just gonna bring in some like really young Swede who's just like owning everyone in FACEIT. We got recommended a few people, and HEAP was one of them, and basically just tested him out. We were like, we were literally giving like people we've never heard of. We never heard of HEAP before either. We were like, okay, but let's give him a shot. Like I think it was Slap. This is like if you know the Swedish guy.
Yeah.
I think he recommended HEAP. He had played a lot of FACEIT with him. I can't remember 100%, but we just sat down. We're like, okay, let's message him, see if he wants to give it a go, and we played with him, and he joined our team. It literally was like that. So it was pretty fun. It was not like how it used to be. Like this guy. You can just message around like 15 people asking how they are, like if he's good and how he's in real life and stuff like that. We had nothing. We were just like, okay, we need a young Swedish player, and he was like too good to say no to, basically.
Is he a guy that, like, when he comes in the team, is he super impressed, like playing with friberg, playing with f0rest, or is he too young that he doesn't even connect with him? Doesn't really care.
I think he doesn't really care, to be honest. I think I think he started playing 2015, and we were trash back then, so he missed our golden years.
He missed the best time.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy though? Like even just saying that, right? Like f0rest is 33 now. You're 29.
Yep.
All right.
30 in a month.
Oh well.
Rip you.
Happy birthday in advance.
Yeah, it's all right. It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Nothing changes, believe me. It's all the same.
It's all good. So you with quite the age disparity, right, between you and the younger boys. Like Halzerk's a baby as well. He's only 21, right? Like, do you find in the team that there's a lot of there's a difference because of the age with the players, or is it just like, nah, it's all good?
It's all good. We're laughing about it every day because f0rest is literally the least mature guy in our team, especially on TeamSpeak. we're having a lot of fun with the team. Like there's no like issues with the age gap, I'd say, at all. It sounds like, you know, you're a 20-year-old girl talking to a 60-year-old man here, but no. Literally no issues. We're having a lot of fun. We had our first boot camp with the team last week during the qualification to the RMR, and it was same there. Like it's a lot of fun, and yeah, people. How do you say? Give it English words like bjuder på sig själva. Offering like yeah. I don't know. I can't.
My Swedish isn't great, but
no. Swedish and chat will translate for me. It's fine.
There's obviously this other piece of the puzzle, right? Is vENdetta, Halvor, right? Now, most people might know Halvor from doing the different broadcasts, right, and all those things. But having him as a coach, right? We've had obviously Yanko transition, we had Moses transition, we've had Halvor transition, right, to being a coach, right? And out of all of them, he's probably lasted the longest, right? Out of everybody so far. He's been with you guys for a decent chunk of time right now. What type of a coach is Halvor? Is he like a taskmaster? Is he pretty easygoing? Because he always strikes me as an easygoing guy.
Yeah, easygoing for sure. I think he's a lot more quiet than a lot of coaches I've had in the past, which is both good and bad, I could say, you know. But I think he started off in Dignitas as an analyst.
Yes.
And then he transitioned into the coach role after f0rest became management. But yeah, no, like I think he's very like he still has a lot of the analyst part in him while coaching, I'd say. Playing by the numbers, you know, and highest win. You should try to go here.
Okay.
You're playing,
all right.
You know, yeah, basically really straightforward, but letting us do a lot of the mid-round, the calling, not trying to involve him too much, because that's the same thing. Like, we don't want our coach to do all of the calling, and we come to LAN and we're like, oh, we have 4 timeouts per half or per game, and so he's doing a couple of calls every game, and basically us helping out, like communication, stuff like that, small details while playing.
It's actually something that we didn't really. I don't know if it's not in the topics or anything, but the in-game leadership change actually that kind of came with the whole thing, with the whole change, you know, of existing get rights. I mean, in-game leadership, I know there was a lot of rumors about who is even in-game leading a team, but it kind of turned out that it was going to be you the entire time, right? So how did that go for you? How did you kind of like decide that it, or maybe it wasn't your decision, but how it was decided that you were going to be the in-game leader, and how did it go from your point of view?
It was basically f0rest who convinced me or forced me to become an IGL, basically. No, but I don't know. He asked me if I could do it, and I said I can try. I'll give it a go. I did it when I played with Optic. That was only for like half a year, and it was rough because that was English as well. I'd say that I tried 2 days in Heroic, calling in Danish. I'm Swedish. Swedish and Danish are not so similar. Swedish, Norwegian, a lot more similar. That's why we speak Swedish with the team, just to clarify that. But yeah, that was rough in Heroics. I just left it to blame FS, like, here, Benja, go. And he's been doing great ever since. So, but yeah, I don't know. I just trying to like use the way how I see the game. I think it's a lot more like how f0rest sees the game, because he taught me basically Counter-Strike. He was my mentor back in the days. So I think that was why f0rest wanted me to be the in-game leader as well, even after Xizt and Get Right left the team. And yeah, it's been a huge learning curve for me. Like, it's so different being in-game leader to just playing. Like how little you actually focus on your crosshair at times, and just look on like the minimap on the radar, like trying to like zoom over to see what utility people has to like figure out and micromanage like an execute and stuff like that. So very different, but it's fun. It's something new for me, and I think I might even have needed, you know, something new for me, because I've been playing for a while now as well.
Okay.
I was gonna go for it, Striker.
Yeah, I was curious about just kind of like the role for the type of a player that you are, right? Like you're always kind of like you've always been the guy who's been in front, right? Just like kind of like taking point, being like, I don't want to use the word entry because it's not always like how it goes, right? But kind of like that type of a role, right? And you've basically been in the same role the entire time, right? And maybe historically that wasn't the best place to be as an in-game leader. Like a lot of the time, at least like the old way that people saw Counter-Strike was you're kind of like in the back, moving your piece. Oh, I'm just hitting my mic because I just don't have enough space to actually move. But like moving your pieces around and stuff like that, you're not really the guy in front. You're more behind, supporting with flashes, whatever like that. Obviously, things have changed. If you look at Nafani or Alex and like some of these in-game leaders, they're just like kind of like trying to create space for the team instead of the other way around, right? So was that something that was kind of like difficult to come to grips with, just kind of like being in that role and having to in-game lead at the same time?
No, I don't think so. Like the way I want to lead a team is basically, like rushing into a battle with the flag in my hand, leading the charge. I'd rather like me going in first and have people trading me than like f0rest running in entry and putting me or someone else in that spot. So I think it's different, but there's always been like that. I think Carrigan is a good example as well. He's always also been a very like leader way. Like he runs in first, creates space, and like getting trades for his team. So for me, that was fairly simple. But then it was like hard in the beginning. Like, okay, then I had to use my nades early, so the rest of the guys can throw nades for me when running.
Now you don't. Now
No,
you just leave them.
Yeah. Now everyone, I've drilled them so well, so they know their nades now. I can trust them with it. No, but I we don't have any like specific entry in our team. Like we don't have that. Oh, you're gonna be running in first every time. Basically, it's who has nades. Now we can drop them even. New meta, and just micromanaging, talking through, like calm yourself and do a mid-round call. And I think with the addition of Liquor, I think that we have become a lot better in that, and I think that's also why we as a team have evolved a lot recently.
To be honest, I just opened like the entry opening kill or opening attempt stats for Dignitas, and it's literally the most balanced shit I've ever seen. Like no team has this. 20.7, 20%, 19.9, 18.5, 20.7. This is literally like no one is like very aggressive. No one is super passive. Usually you have a player that's around like 10 to 15 who's one of the more supportive, more passive players. You have someone who's like 30% who's going to be the entry most of the time. So I've never actually seen this being so balanced as it is in your team. Even though you're the first one, I think. Yeah, you and Halsberg.
Yeah, I mean, but then I think it changed as mid-round as well. Like a lot how Xizt is played a lot right now. It feels like you do a move either on the CT or T side, and then the game, like the round calms down, and then it's like a 3-on-3, and you play out the situation how it is. But I think it's like the stats are always like if the opper is going for one entry and then plays super passively in the back, that it's also like misleading in a way, because how the meta, it kind of feels like CS is played right now.
This is probably a good point to transition into the tiers of Counter-Strike that you guys find yourself in, right? While we're talking the nitty and the gritty, right? We can come back to some of the stuff about the players. I'm sure we will, because we're going to be talking for a whole lot longer here. But let's transition into the position that Dignitas find themselves in, right? As you mentioned before, not getting invited to all the big tournaments. The one that you guys were meant to have like a locked-in slot was Flashpoint, and we don't know what's happening with that league going forward, right? There hasn't been anything publicly about a Flashpoint Season 4. I think everyone's nodding, and okay, it's good. I made sure I read the headlines. So you guys have been in that washing machine, right? Is kind of how I'm calling it these days, because it's so tumultuous, right? It's so crazy down there that you have no idea with all these different opponents and these nutty kids and these teams who grind really hard. And obviously we've got the fairy tale story of like a Gambit who ground their way up through like all these different events to become one of the best teams in the world. You guys are constantly in that position. Do you find that like harder than playing against tier 1 teams when you get the opportunity to do so?
Like if you're used to, like say f0rest used to playing tier 1 opponents going into like a tier 2 tournament, it's a lot harder. Like, I promise you. Like, the I was about to say a bad word, but the stuff that you see people do.
You can do
tier
that, by the
2.
way. We don't care.
Okay, fair. No, but like, yeah, tier 2 tournaments are super hard to win. Like, you're playing against 20 different game styles. Like, people playing as a group of 5, just basically trading out like all the time. You play a bunch of like lurkers spreading out on the map. Everyone is just sitting, holding, doing nothing. So it was a big change, definitely. Like, and I think I was used to it. Playing in heroic, we were in the kind of same seat that we had to qualify for every tournament there, so I knew how it was gonna be. But yeah, like the tier 2 landscape, tier 2, tier 3 landscape in CS right now is super competitive. Like, it's really hard. Like, the CIS teams right now, they are just insane. So many teams of them, and I think at the same time, I'm super happy that we have been, or we are still in this like position right now. Hopefully, we'll get to the point where we're gonna be like one of the tier 1 teams. But you never know if we're gonna be there or not. But we have really like toughened our skin by playing through all of these tier 2 tournaments, because there's so many games that you don't really know what's happening. You just like, it's going so crazy. You just have to go with the flow. Like, I don't call, like, just go kill. Like, it's insane, some of these games.
I was going to ask, like, because you're playing against so many different play styles, and obviously you're not able to prep for all of them, because I'm sure in some of the games you play, there's really limited demos, or you're playing a tournament where you play multiple games in a day, so you're unable to sit there and do your overnight prep that you would in a regular tournament, right? But does that mean that as a team, do you feel that you have more solutions, right? Like, you're kind of forced into having to come up with different ways to approach all these different play styles? Or is it more to the vein of what you were just saying there, where sometimes the game just does become about, all right, well, we just have to fucking headshot them?
No, like you said, I think we have gotten a lot well-versed. Like, we have played against Russians just rushing you. We have played against people just playing slow. We have played against like tier 3 teams who maybe not have super good aim, but they have insane strats. So I think that we are pretty well versed. I think that was the word.
Yep.
Now, so, but yeah, same thing. Like you said, we can't prep against all the teams. Basically, our analyst is literally just saying, these guys are fucking crazy. They'll fucking run at you, like, and you're like, yeah, well, that's just a normal day at the office, right? So, no, but I think like prepping for tier 2 teams can be super good at points, and at some other points it might be really bad, because then most of the times, if you have a really solid default like game plan and the way how you play the game, you'll end up winning those games anyway by just like being calm, talking, like communication is good, and playing at the situation as they are.
I think one of the big things, and this is probably something that I ask a lot of players this, maybe not in private, from time to time on the podcast when we have some of the older boys come in, and I say, like, how much has the game changed? And I feel like a lot of the players maybe don't see it because they've been in the thick of it the entire time. But you, as somebody who's you've been at the very, very tippy top. Now let's put it that you're grinding, right? That's what I see you do. You are grinding, right? And do you see the change in the game from how it used to be to how it is now, and just how much different it is played?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when we started playing, I don't know how many like fully, like not fully paid, but like teams playing, professional teams, I should say, playing all the time. Compare that to now, and I mean, back in the days, we could go to a tournament. There were maybe like 4 or 5 teams who could potentially win the tournament. Now, you literally like you would cruise through the group stage in a 2012, maybe 2013 tournament. Like, you could play like 50%, you would make it to the playoffs. Today, if you're not playing 100% all the time, you're gonna lose to a lot of these tier 2 teams, and I think that is the biggest change. Like, you literally, you have top 60 teams in Europe, CIS, are legit good enough to beat. You have the few exceptions of the maybe like top 4 teams, top 2-3 teams in the world, who I don't think, like Gambit, they've been through this. They are right now at the top, so I don't think these tier 2 teams can beat a team like Gambit, potentially not even Navi. But you have a lot of other teams who I'd seriously think that could lose to like many of those teams which we are playing in the tier 2 tournaments. And it's basically just, it's fun to see how the game has developed. You don't have like all these bad teams where you could just walk over them. Basically, you literally have teams like doing a lot of new strats, because that's also one thing. Like a lot of the new gimmicks that you find in CS and strats and nades and stuff like that, they are usually found like by the tier 2 teams, by the maybe less aim-wise skilled teams. They are done by the more like tactical tier 2, 3 teams.
Do you have any team in mind? I remember maybe not back in the day, I think 2017, 2018, Alternate Attacks was a team that had a lot of gimmicks. And then later, Cressy then was also in a German team. I don't remember which one it was. Maybe Expert, I don't know, that had a lot of gimmicks. Do you have any, like some of these teams in mind that have like insane strats or gimmicks that you pick up from them?
I can't pick like one team out of the bag, no. But I think like majority of the tier 2 teams, you could look at a few strats. You might want to modify them a bit, but they have really solid strats and setups, and like they've really thought it through. It's not, like face it players just plugging S5 anymore with the tier 2 teams. It's actually a pretty solid team. So most of them, I also have like a coach, finding stuff for them. But I don't think I have like a team name for you, which you can look at and find.
No one off the top of the head for Prof to get some cheeky smokes from. I remember E-Battle, right? Like the Polish guys with like Ruby and stuff. I remember back in the day, and we really go on back in the day, they always had like the nerdiest like cobble executes and shit. They always stuck out in my mind. But I remember
vENdetta in chat says Sinners one-way smokes on Vertigo.
That's that was a very good example. We played against Sinners. I'm glad we have played against Sinners, because it's like you peek A ramp, your T on a Vertigo, you're peeking, you see a smoke, and then you're like back there, you're like, wonder what this smoke is, and you're dead. But now you're like, okay, you watch through the demos, you find them. Now all the tier 1 teams are using them, right? And we never saw those smokes before. I remember we played against Anonymous, the Polish team with Snacks and those guys.
Yeah.
We were playing Vertigo against them as well. They had found like a smoke from T-spawn, which would land like top ramp by the sandbag. Not like the sandbag's position, but like the small sandbag top ramp on a Vertigo. They have found a smoke which landed like halfway on top of that. So you would like have a one-way on the feet of the CTs running behind, and they couldn't see anything. Cases, stuff like that. You can find it in the tier 2 scene.
The real geeky shit, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, the nerds are there. All right. Boys, do we have anything on this? I kind of want to get into this IEM Fall and Blast conversation stuff.
Yeah, one, I think.
Yeah, because we can roll a lot of these topics kind of into one here as we go. Now, obviously, for those people playing at home who haven't been paying attention, Dignitas managed to qualify for IEM Fall, which is taking place in, what are we now, 7 days time, something like that, just over a week, just under a week even, on the 29th. It kicks off Wednesday the 29th, so yeah, just under a week. And that, for everybody, just to know the gravitas of this whole situation, is to qualify for the goddamn major, the first one we're going to have in 2 years. So it's crazy, and it's a huge event for you guys to have been able to even just qualify for, considering how contested the qualifiers are at this point, right? You look at some of the names in here, and this is just the European side of things. It's fucking stacked. Now, you guys have found yourself in Group C with Vitality, OG, Sprout, Dignitas, and Mad Lions. That's your group right there. You reckon you can get out of this group? I know you're a competitor, Adam. You're going to give me the but like, do you like with the context? It's a big event. You guys are back at LAN. You've got f0rest, fucking absolute god in your team, right? Still performing at this level. You got a couple of new boys. It's doable.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. Who other than Vitality? Actually, is Vitality and OG the two headliners here, right? Do you practice them often? Do you get to kind of test the metal against them and see in practice if you guys are within touching distance of teams like that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think that also one of the benefits of being like a tier 2 team, that a lot of the tier 1 teams, they want to practice you if you're not playing the tournament. Like, for example, let's say ESL Cologne, right? They don't want to practice the teams that are in Cologne, if in case they would play them, so they play us instead. So we have played against a lot of like tier 1 teams. We play a lot of tier 1 teams in practice, basically every day.
Okay. So all right. I guess when you look at this group, right? Like Sprout, the Germans who can only seem to be big, right? I don't know. I'm looking for you know what I mean, right? Like they go up against big, they have a good showing. Ents is this crazy influx team who, you know, when Snappy's fast strats are working, they look absolutely brilliant, and then other times it can maybe just not come together. Mad Lions in there is like a real strange one, right? You got Bo up, and then you've got a bunch of younger guys. I know people know of Warrow 2K because of, I guess, Simple. I don't know, does he play FPL? And people always seem to talk about him and his vac ban or some shit. Look, we're laughing. Does he have a vac ban? I don't know.
There was some talk about it, but allegedly he is clear.
Okay.
It's not like, I think it was something, the classic, like he sold an account to someone who got VAG. I think that's the story.
Look, if he was VAG back, but he would not be allowed to play unless it was like the 5-year thing. So
true. Well, he must have been cleared then. Okay, so a bit more context on this. This is the second LAN back since COVID. Like, there's a lot into this, and this is for this first. Well, not the first Swedish major, but it's the Swedish major back after all of this shit, right? So there's obviously a lot of stock in this one for you and the team. But going into it, I assume, you know, that you guys haven't put so much pressure on yourself that qualifying is, you know, the number one goal, right? You're going in there as an underdog. Is that the mindset?
I mean, yeah, we are definitely underdogs. But to ourselves, I feel like we all know that we can go there.
Best of ones as well.
Yeah, it's especially best of ones. I don't know. I think it's gonna be with the best of ones. I think you're gonna see a couple of upsets. Maybe not only from our group, like I think from all the groups. But it's best of ones, right? You lose both pistols and the anti-eco, and you're 0-6 down. So
it's got a little bit harder. The force wise, it's a little bit harder.
they nerfed the Deagle now, even though it's not so nerfed, but yeah.
Oh, we'll talk about that update soon, boys. Do we have any obviously as well as this, we've got the Blast Showdown that you guys are in there. I guess the thing is, you guys are currently ranked 31st in the world as by HLTV, right? So you're just outside the top 30. Good showings at these events, right? That is enough to get you inside the top 30, I would assume, right? I'm looking to Striker here to see the nods, so that's always good. And then that puts you on the map to start going back to all of these events. So does it feel, because Lecker has been in the team now for 6 months, right? And the whole project's been going for quite some time up at this point. Does it feel like you're at that point where you guys can get back in the thick of things with the big boys? Like, is that what this is right now? Is there a mindset for the tail end of this year? Yep, this is our fucking time. This is it. We're going to get back in there. Or like, is it just taking every week at a time that we tend to hear?
No, I think what you said, I think all the opportunities that we get to score some ranking points is important. And like, you know, being able to have a chance to qualify for the major, like being able to play Blast Showdown, those are the chances we want to have to be able to prove ourselves. And now we're in both of them, so we just have to show that we deserve to be in more of those tournaments. And then you never know what happens.
Then just to ask, maybe maybe Striker can help in terms of what Dignitas would need to do to get to the major and at this event. What is the kind of the placing that is needed? Because you don't have any points at this point.
Yeah, I think we need like top
8,
maybe top 8. I think then it also depends on how other teams are doing. I think it could be enough to get out of groups. I think someone told me, depending on also then what other teams make it out of the groups. But yeah, I think top 8. If we get top 8, I think we should be through.
To be honest, even there's still this. If you finish 3rd, you go into this like additional tiebreaker situation from like 12th,
right?
9th to 12th, yeah, and then 9th place gets like 1,250. 8th place is 1,400 points. And just to like for a comparison, let's say FPX currently has 1,000 points. Astralis has 1,000 points at this point. Yeah. So let's say some of these big teams really fuck up. You don't really have to go that deep to actually surpass them, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think wasn't it supposed to be 3 RMRs like they've done for the CIS, but now they've only done it.
There was 2? Like, they said like they are aiming for 3, and then the second one was going to be optional. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
okay.
So
Yeah.
I guess it just didn't work out with the schedule, or maybe just didn't have anybody actually wanting to do, or like finding a schedule
There's
to
no
do
time.
the second one. Yeah, like the CIS one literally took place like within 2 weeks from the first one or something like that. So that was also awkward. So
Yeah.
I can understand why that happened in the end, right? But it's not ideal, I guess.
All right, this is what I want to do, boys. Because we're going to talk. You've got Swedish Counter-Strike here as the next one, Prof. We're going to talk about that when we talk about friberg's boy Xizt in a minute, right? Because I think we can roll Xizt and his coaching prospects into that one, and we can kind of bundle that one nicely together. What we do on the show, Adam, we have a segment called "Who Wants to Be a Skinionaire." So
I forgot about this.
Oh,
no, it's
done?
prepared.
I was going to say,
I did
shit,
it. I did.
Maybe we
I
did
did
have it.
I did it yesterday, so I forgot it exists.
So what's going to happen is Lucas, our producer, is going to give you a link in TeamSpeak, right? It's going to be a link for all of us here. But basically, this is a little game show. I don't know if you've ever seen Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Well, if you have, it doesn't matter because this is nothing like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It's Who Wants to Be a Skinionaire, thanks to Bitskins. Now, there's going to be 5 questions, right? These 5 questions, I'm going to read them out. You're going to have 60 seconds to answer each question, and you'll just click to lock on in which answer you want, right, on the little screen that you're going to have in front of you. Now, every question that you get correct will unlock a next tier level of skins for the viewer. So you start down there at, I think it's like 50 cents a skin, and then we end up at $50, but I'll make sure I get that right. And then, yeah, if you get them all right, I think we had, who was it last week? Was it Shocks who got them all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he fucking nailed it. Who was it?
Deagle? Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I was like, what? Coach fnatic? We didn't have
I
something
was like,
on.
what?
All right. I'm with you now. All right. Yes. Devil Walk. He nailed them all. Devil Walk nailed them all. All right. Lucas, are you ready? All right. Let's roll these first questions for Adam here. Question number 1. Which map wasn't updated in the latest CSGO patch? Was it A, Ancient, B, Mirage, or C, Dust 2?
I'm going to go ahead with Mirage. Yes, lock it in.
All right, he's locked in
Right.
Mirage. And the correct answer is Mirage. 1 correct here for the friberg. Question 2.
I think today the questions are like kind of easy, but maybe also kind of fucked up. Later on.
Hey,
We'll
don't put
see.
pressure on me.
I think props had to start like making them easier as we've gone because they've been hard for a while. All right, give us question 2, Lucas. Question 2. Which player topped the ADR, opening kills per round, and headshots per round leaderboards at the Blast groups? Was it A, Nico,
God.
B,
They all played.
Zywoo, or C, Rez? Yeah, there's still
They
one
all
more
played
group to
insane.
go.
Like, I think I saw Nico's stats, and he was just like way above his teammates today. But I know Rest played amazing as well, and Cyber is
Swedish bias kicking in.
Yeah, no, but I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go with Nico. This might be incorrect, but gut feeling is Nico. I don't know. Like, it's not like I have checked it out. I'm gonna lock in Nico. Let's go.
He's gone for option A, and the answer is correct. That's 2 right now. All right, he's on a bit of a roll here, ladies and gentlemen. We've got question 3. Coming at you thick and fast. flamie became a free agent last week. Which team was he a part of before joining Na'Vi? Was it A, Hellraisers, B, Flipside, or C, Spirit?
Hellraiser, singular Hellraiser. Give me.
I think he. I don't know. Did he play with Flipside? I don't think he played in Hellraisers. I think it's either Spirit or Flipside, and I know that Michael Lela used to accuse him of cheating. I think
that was that team.
Yeah, that was major, right?
But that was before Flipside.
Oh, okay. You said before Flipside, so I think you gave it away. I'm gonna go with Flipside. Locked in. Hopefully,
I fucked you up.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
Well, you said it was not going to be Hellraisers, so I guess.
Oh dear.
I had no clue.
Unfortunate. That was, I wanted to say that was before the team, the Flipside, right? But
yeah,
fuck it.
Oh dear. I don't think. Okay, well that's all right. Next question. Well,
sorry guys.
Is there more questions?
Yeah.
Okay, you go until the end.
Oh, okay.
Oh shit! All right, question 4. Hit us with it. What is the only top 30 team that has an average player under 21?
Average player age, not just
Okay.
one.
Yeah,
What is the top average player age under 21? Skade, Gambit, or Copenhagen Flames?
I don't think it's Copenhagen Flames. I know Roy is like older.
He's a boomer. Yeah, he's a boomer.
Yeah, I think he's older than you expect. Gambit, they're young. Hobbit, I don't know how old Hobbit is, but he should be the
also
oldest.
a boomer. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like this could be a trick. Yeah, I don't know about them either.
Chips is pretty young, but he's the only guy that I. Oh,
that's the only name you know.
This is hard.
10 seconds, man. Putting the pressure.
He deagled the guys. Oh shit!
I'm gonna go Skade here, man. Let's go.
All right, the unknown entity here, Skade.
Yeah, it could be Gambit.
Damn. You're correct. How young are they, Prof?
Like under 21.
Like just
literally,
0.9. Yeah.
Literally the only team that are that young.
Okay. All right.
Half of the other teams are like 22, 23 average.
What do we have in our team? I have to look that up. Wait.
We must have to be like 25, right?
26.9.
There you go. All right. Question 5 here for Who Wants to Be a Skinionaire. Coming in for the final question. Entropic Prague revealed Regin as their new analyst. Which team was the Dane a part of when he abused the coaching bug in 2018?
What a segue, man.
Oh my god.
Wow, that one hit me in the face, didn't it?
He's the analyst, it's not their coach.
Yeah.
Heroic Fragster. I don't think Heroic, I don't think so. Fragsters? Fragsters was the team with Staven and those guys. Staven, Dragonfly. I don't think they had Raging as coach. I think it must be Tricked. And Raging was there before like Hunden started coaching. Tricked must have. I think it's Tricked. I'm gonna go with Tricked. Let's go.
The answer is correct. All right, 4 out of 5. Not bad, and you did get.
If I didn't fucking up.
No, I mean I wouldn't have gotten that anyway. It's fine.
Oh dear. All right. Well, that's Who Wants to Be a Skinionaire, and friberg has just won a lovely, lovely viewer at home a skin here, and the winner is. Holy shit! I got to squint. I just have my vision. Is that like bidets?
Bidets, yeah.
BIDETZZ. One of our people will reach out to you and get your skin. You can thank friberg for that one. We need the old meme. Thank you, Mr. friberg. We need that one back in the business. All right, let's keep this moving again, and let's get to the recent news. Lucas, roll the bumper.
The Xtrfy M42 RGB, what a fun mouse with 5 colorways, lightweight frame at just 59 grams with a swappable backplate to suit your grip style, the sensor, the easy core, the smooth skates, and driverless control for RGB and DPI is why you should check out the M42 RGB down below.
These bombs go to the teammates.
I wanna see you rolling fast. Win the round. Win the game.
Parimatch, your esports teammate. Buy and sell your skins now. Easy, fast, and safe. The best skin site. Credit card deposits and withdrawals, instant cash out methods. Get the best deals. Quick, simple, reliable. Bitskins.com.
And we're back. Thank you for hanging with us through the quick little break. We're going to get this one underway and get straight into the recent news. And we're going to be talking about one of Mr. friberg's ex-teammates, Xizt. He retires from professional play. And look, this is what I want to do. Prof, you wrote the article. You can tell everybody.
TLDR.
Give everyone at home the scoop.
TLDR decided like he didn't play in a year, almost a year since his last competitive match. He was standing in with Genji. You all remember Flashpoint season 2, right? So that is behind him. Took some time off. Decided he doesn't want to play. He doesn't have the drive to compete in the tier 3-4 scene. He doesn't want to play just to play and just to like collect a salary. So he's like, okay, I'm not playing anymore. But he's open to doing something else, be it coaching, analysis, whatever, management in a team. So he's feeling out different opportunities. That's kind of the biggest TLDR. And then the rest of the article is just like, look, this guy won a bunch of shit, in case you're a new viewer. And then there's a massive list at the bottom with like 25 tournaments and MVPs and shit. That's
okay. All right. Well, if you're interested in that, you guys know where to go, HLTV.org, to read that article there. But I guess the lovely little segue we can have from this is, Adam, Xizt going, right? And obviously he did in-game leading for a very long time. Do you think he is suited to be a coach, right? Obviously, there's different types of coaches, or you can be an analyst. Do you think he's got the personality and he obviously has the mind, right? Do you think he could make a good coach?
Definitely, yeah, for sure. I think he is one of the better like mid-round callers that I've played with. He's really good on fake ego B, basically.
Okay, yeah.
But I'd like to explain. Like he's really good on like mid-round calling, like how to micromanage small things in executes, and I think he would be a really good coach for like any team that needs like an extra hand, like helping out in those situations. Definitely, like he's been around for, like, he played 1.6 Pro as well. Like he's been around for so long. Like you see a lot of coaches, like they've been around for long as well, like, but also some coaches that haven't been around for too long and just doing like analyst part. I think Xizt, he has always kind of been an in-game leader. I think it was Karn who made him the in-game leader of Fnatic 2010 or something.
Yep.
So I think he would do a really good job, like evolving the IGL in your team, getting a different perspective. I think is another key part of him, like get him with someone he hasn't played with before. So I think definitely he could be a coach. He could be an analyst as well. But I have only like good words to say about him, at least. So yeah, okay. I wish him best of luck.
Striker, before we get into like a bit about the Swedish scene here, just from your take on what you've seen of Xizt and what you know of Xizt, whether a person or a player or both, what type of team do you think off the top of your head he would be better suited to? Let me just throw a name out there, like a FaZe, right? Like a team that has a bunch of already respected names and he's there just to give that perspective that Adam's saying? Or do you think he could be suited to a team that have a bit more fresh-faced youngsters to really pass that knowledge down to the next gen and work a team like that?
I think in FaZe he would be kind of lost just because of, like, they already have what Adam was just talking about, right? Like they already have those strengths. Like he doesn't need to go in there and help them with that. So maybe it would be somebody more like, somewhere towards the bottom where like you would kind of like pass on the knowledge, right? That seems like a place for him, to be honest, at this point. I don't know if he's up for that, or maybe he's looking for like a top 20 team, somebody who's already established, right? But it feels like a guy like that, especially since it's his first coaching job, should probably start somewhere lower.
That's one of the things, right? I don't know if everybody agrees with that, but it's one of the things is like when you're doing a coaching gig, and I think like Yanko and Moses, they went to high profile teams, right? Like unless those teams performed better than they were previously, they were fucked no matter what. Like even if the results were the same, right, before they joined, like as when they were there, they were still going to be looked at as they weren't adding anything to the team, right? Which is like such a weird thing, because being a coach and doing it, and for a lot of people, coaching in Counter-Strike, when you get your first coaching gig, right, unless you've come up through grassroots type of stuff, or you're a school teacher like Rugger or Mithra or those type of guys, right, you're just getting thrown into the deep end of all this shit. So it's never a thing where you can go, oh yeah, I'm an experienced coach. How the fuck are you meant to get that, right? So that's one of the things that, and this is why I asked, is if I was Xizt, I wouldn't want to go to a high. If like, let's just say tomorrow G2 came on the phone, just an example, and Carlos was like, yeah, I'll pay you like a shitload of money, come coach my boys, right? Like the level of pressure there to go and do that is it feels like you can only fail. And I know I'm being pessimistic here, but do you guys see my logic on that, or am I being a bit of a brain dead clown?
I see your logic, but I also feel like, having a new set of eyes, like a new IGL, like even if you have a really good in-game leader in your team, if you add another guy who's been in-game leading up before, the discussions that they can have, and like, how to see the game in a different way, because that's been, for me at least, working with different coaches back in the days, like they've seen the game totally different, and that's only like, it's only gonna like give you more experience and more things to call and how to basically see the game and play situations differently and stuff like that. So I definitely see your point, but I also agree that maybe like, you know, have him signing to like a top 5 team, like, or like G2 or FaZe, could also be like rough for him. It could put a lot of pressure. I would like personally, I would like him to coach like a Swedish team.
Okay.
Just for like, you know, our Swedish scene, we don't have in-game leaders in the Swedish scene right now. We have a lot of young teams, young players, which needs guidance. So from my perspective, it would like benefit the Swedish teams and Swedish players a lot. The problem in Sweden is that we don't have like, you know, super big stable organizations who you know, support the younger teams if you compare to like Denmark and other countries.
And this
you
is
don't
cool.
have like your Hundens and stuff like that, really.
Yeah, I mean, we have Elitserien, which is like, you know, the Swedish elite league, basically, you know, being played. But other than that, we don't have like, you know, many other teams except for like it's us, I guess, Fnatic, Swedish still. We have Apex, the Norwegian Swedish lineup. Like, we need more teams for the Swedish scene to grow. So I'd say that he should try, but then again, you know, he obviously he needs to want to do that, but and he needs to be paid for it as well, because we don't have too much support in Sweden for the lower teams, unfortunately. So, but yeah, Sweden would need a guy like Xizt to basically guide the younger generation of players.
Do you know much about this Aura mob who qualified for the RMR event like you guys did? Do you know much about like the Zen, Franson, Shine, Hype, and Bob XD?
No, nope. I don't know a lot about them at all.
All right. No, because I was going to say, because like I'm just looking at them now. These guys are just a bunch of young kids. Obviously, it's a little bit too late to have Xizt signed up as the coach, right?
That would be a perfect thing, right? Like if.
At least for a short-term trial,
like,
something like that.
Exactly. It's like a week in the RMR. Like, have him, listen to him. If he has input, like, let him talk, and maybe they can improve.
Yeah, because
I think there is one name that is actually in the top 5, and I think could maybe be a perfect fit, or maybe the worst fit in the world.
In the top 5?
That doesn't have a coach. It is Heroic.
Well,
I actually see that mean, putting aside all the drama about Heroic, which is obviously maybe a reason why I wouldn't want to get involved with them right now, but I think Cadian and Xizt would be a very interesting combo to have, like an IGL coach. I think that would be a very nice like yin yang thing going on right there. So of course Swedish Danish not the same, but as a coach you don't really have to be that much into like every detail of the comms. So
Take some
I think
time.
Yeah, and you can take time, learn, you know. I think it could work.
Yeah.
Maybe just don't publicly announce it, like, if you exist, right? He can do it in the shadows. He can wear a mask when he does it, you know.
I think you'll be on land. It'll be hard to not recognize him.
That could be a gimmick.
Yeah.
You can wear
maybe
a mask with an X on it, right? We don't really fully see his face. I've seen plenty of animes out there. I'm sure we could pull some shit off like that. Adam, do you have I wanted to ask a bit of a divisive question. Maybe we'll save it. I'll save it for question time. We'll see if I have the balls to ask the question when we get there.
You just pretend it's from a viewer. It's not from you.
Hello, we have a question here. Somebody is asking, you used to be in Heroic as an organization. Do you have anything to say about the organization, even though they've signed with a new company? That's what the viewer question says, Adam. How was your time in Heroic?
I think it was both good and bad, I'd say. When I signed with Heroic, we were a part of the Refresh organization, which is like the Astralis, basically, organization. And I think they managed everything really well. Like, they gave us, basically what we needed. We were, I guess, the way you put it, a B team to Astralis, right? And then they were sold to new owners, and like same there, like super nice and everything, but I don't think they had as much experience owning a team and managing a team. And like, I wouldn't say the management was bad, which is not why I didn't re-sign the contract. Like, the contracts were really weird when we got him, and I don't know, like, but the owners were nice, but now they have new owners again, which, if I understood correctly, right, like the Norwegian guy owns Heroic now. So yeah, but yeah, I think my time when in Heroic, it was fine. My paycheck came in every month, and they basically, supported us like any team should. Gave us an office in Copenhagen, which we could play from, and yeah.
The viewers going to be very...
more good than bad, I'd say. Definitely.
All right.
It wasn't bad at all. Like, a couple of things, but
yeah,
that's in every organization.
All right, nice. So we want to talk a little bit about the Swedish scene in general. Now, Devilwalk made a comment on last week's show. Was he talking about ES Portal? Was that the one he was talking about? The pug system? Whatever you guys have for...
ES Portal, yeah, the Swedish face it. Yeah.
He was saying there that the kids, they love playing Vertigo. Is that, like, can you attest to that? Do you play much of that? Not Vertigo, but the pug system.
No, I've played it a couple of times, but I play mainly like FBL or Face It when I play. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe the Swedish kids do like to play Vertigo.
Yeah, because that's what Devilwalk said, and I was really surprised to hear that. Right, like, because by most people out there, they're just like, oh, fuck Vertigo.
The Aura team was pretty good on it, so
yeah,
they play a lot of ES Portal and own people there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we can't dive in too much there. So I guess if you're not playing that, then you're not really seeing just the up and coming kids in that either. So maybe we can just leave that question for now. Some stuff might come up with that. Unless, boys, Prof Strike, got anything you want to ask about Swedish Counter-Strike for Friberg?
No, I guess not particularly.
Okay.
Prof? I mean, I guess we can kind of like touch on like the fnatic change, just because they are kind of moving away from like an all Swedish teams, kind of like closing the door on like Swedish talent and stuff like that with this latest change. What do you think about that?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Just about fnatic and them moving away from like the Swedish talent.
Do you feel betrayed?
There you go.
No, I mean, no, I don't, and I think it's like the kind of shows the Swedish scene where it's been at, right? Like, we haven't produced as much talents as we need. The last couple of years, Sweden has always been a great CS country, but it feels like the last couple of years they've fallen behind Denmark and a lot of other countries in getting new talents up there, and a lot of it has to do with like people. We don't have a player like Barry. Barry in Denmark is a good example. Hunden is also a good example. He used to play with lower teams, get them to like top 30, and then he got kicked and he started his new project, right? But we don't have those mentors in Sweden, and so I'm not surprised that Fnatic decided to go international. No.
All right. Let's jump into talking about this next piece of news here. Now, which Striker, did you write the news about config?
I mean, there was just like a reports. I don't know why.
Don't worry about it.
Nobody
I
can
can't
speak English
properly.
today.
It's my native language.
Report. There you go. It was a report from somebody else, but I wrote it. Yeah.
All right. Well, you can give the TLDR on someone else's homework.
Well, essentially, the report came from Jackson that that config is not going to be continuing with complexity, and that he's pretty close to signing with Astralis for next year.
Did
That's
you say
essentially Jackson is like the website.
G2 lag, what the leak and stuff.
To be honest,
where's Jack telling everybody this?
To be honest, some of these things that I saw from the CIS, I don't know which report.
Meta ratings, I think that's what it is.
It was not it was something about like SANJI leaving or something about Virtus Pro. It's like source of the news is Navi Junior's analyst name, last name, nickname. I'm like,
what the fuck?
What the fuck? Like, what is going on here?
I remember.
What is going on? So maybe Jax from G2 is reporting on call.
He could be doing it.
No, this is a Danish site, I think, that reported on it. So it kind of makes sense that they would have kind of like knowledge of the Danish scene, right? And it was pretty reputable from my side as well, so that's why we kind of covered it as well. So that's kind of what's expected to happen for next year.
I've heard some similar things that config is probably on his way there, but do we think that the injury may affect that, or is the stuff that you guys heard more recent news?
I mean, this should be. I mean,
because I heard this before his injury,
right? I mean, that's kind of been like swirling around for a really long time, but only now it's kind of like been reported. So I think that's more recent, I would say, because like things about Astralis and obviously who are kind of like the blame F and config, and you know some kind of a combination happening between those two teams. Like that's been rumored forever. Like that's been going around for months. So it's not a surprise that something finally is starting to happen now that we're kind of getting close to that date, right? Like 3 months from now, Astralis is not going to have 3 players on their contracts anymore. Maybe they're going to some of them are going to resign, right? But at this point, it looks like they're going to lose 3 of their players, right? So that's like we're bound to be moving somewhere at that point, right?
Does anybody here think that any of those 3 plus the coach would resign, right? Especially now this Hunden situation. Do we think that?
I would be surprised if it was Zipex at this point. I think that's fair to assume that he's just going to be out. But like all the everything that he said,
sense.
everything that he has said, even himself, kind of like exploring his opportunities. It looks like Astralis is kind of an option, but it doesn't seem like it's up to him at least. So that's kind of like what I'm reading out into that. I think Magisk, there's always a possibility there. I don't see, like, first of all, that there hasn't been anything about him specifically leaving or anything like that. Zonic, there was obviously that report that kind of like tied into Hunden replacing him. That was kind of the plan. So maybe that's changed now that Hunden is out of the picture essentially, right? So Hunden, Zonic could just be re-signing because like he's literally the only other option, right? In terms of the Danish scene, at least. So
Exist to Astralis.
yeah, right.
Yeah, there you go.
And so
quite the team to coach.
Yeah, and so we're missing somebody. Dupree, there you go. Yeah, same thing as Magisk. I'm not sure about those two. I'm guessing they're gonna keep at least one of them if possible.
Do you think? Right?
Do you think it's up to the players, or do you think it's like the org that doesn't want to resign them? What do you think is the players that doesn't want to resign?
I'd say it depends on the players. I would say, like, in terms of Zipex, it seems like it's probably the org's plan in terms of Dupree, Magisk, or whichever they want to keep. I think it's kind of like up in the air about like whether they want to stay or whether the org wants to keep them. I think that's why we haven't really heard anything new regarding that, anything like tangible until now with config. It would kind of make sense if config replaced Dupree, if you think about it, right? Just because of roles. And I mean, Magisk is also kind of like it would work for sure, but I think Dupree is more of a 1-to-1 in terms of config.
Dupree's getting on as well, though, isn't he? Isn't he like 28 now or something?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so
27, I think he's.
But I think it was good by Astralis to resign Glaive, because I feel like Astralis are still attractive to a lot of Danish players because of Glaive. Yes. I think all the Danes playing in international teams or in other Danish teams, they probably want to play with Glaive. So I think that was good thing to resign him.
I don't think there's any discussion that he's the best Danish in-game leader. Like, I don't think you can put Katie in that conversation at the moment. Like, even if you look at how Heroic is doing, I think there's a lot going for Glaive. So I think that makes a lot of sense for sure. Like, they needed to keep like some sort of the core, right? Like at least like the core values of the team, like that, and that's obviously like Glaive or Zonic are going to be a big part of that. So, so that's like at least one of them I thought were going to stay. So like that, the fact that Glaive re-signed didn't surprise me at all.
I think what's going on right now with these reports as well, like a lot of the times they don't really pop up randomly. There is a reason for when some information gets leaked and reports emerge. Not always, but someone has a reason why they want this information to be public. And this situation could be config, right? If they are in talks and now he's injured, maybe he wants that like public pressure to be there. Oh, config should join Astralis, right? These are the things that happen in the back. And it's same with Zipnik saying, okay, I'm exploring my options. Mm-hmm. He is essentially putting himself out there. And at the same time, maybe Astralis want the config news to be public, so then the players that they're talking to, their players that they're negotiating maybe a next contract that could be fucking huge for 3 years if they're going to sign them as they did with Glaive, that they have a bit more leverage. So I think that is what is going on right now, and I think we'll see a few more news like this over the next couple of months until the Astralis roster is kind of locked in. But I also found it. Yeah, you can go.
I mean, if we're expecting config to the deal to go through, like there's literally one more spot left.
No, but I think
there's only one spot left at that point.
I think
so. We only have like either Magisk or Dupree are staying, or it's somebody new. Like, there's
True.
no way they're going to come back to the 6-man thing now.
But it doesn't have to happen unless it's already signed.
I'm saying if this config thing is true and it's a done deal and stuff like that, then there's only one spot left because they have Glaive, they have Bubsky, and they have Lucky. And I don't think any of them want to go back to a 6-man thing, and they're kind of want to go with like the younger core with Bubsky and Lucky moving forward.
Yeah, but
And
that's
they just
what I think. If config signs for Astralis as an org is in a great position, like in a better position than the players.
Oh, 100%.
Because they have one spot and they can pick who they want, right?
Right.
And then they have to just play by their rules.
Do you think they'll keep either?
And
I think there's a higher likelihood that they keep Magisk.
Okay.
Age comes into it. Obviously, there's one of those things.
But what about roles, right?
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, I feel like Dupree and Config are more similar to one another than Magisk and Config are.
Can I present
For me, definitely. I think people kind of think of Magisk as a super aggressive player, and he has been
I don't
at the
think
last
he is
event,
that much
but
lately.
not usually. I think he's the Pit Inferno player, right? Those he's fine to just sit and multi-fry, right?
Like, he's always been very versatile. While Dupree, while he's like tried different roles, like he's mostly been in one, right? So, like, that's kind of why I'm thinking that Config for Dupree is more of a 1-2-1 replacement.
What do you think about this, Adam? Because you were part of a team that did just the fifth changing, right? Fifi, Alu, Makalele. To me, right, and I want to get your opinion on this, but to me, this feels like Astralis trying to build their team for the. They're not trying to hold on to the team that was, right? It feels like they're trying to shift the gear to the team that will be, right? So as Striker and Prof have said, Bubsky and Lucky, they're the next gen. Glaive is the brain, and then they can plug other good players in here and keep the Astralis legacy going. Like, it does feel like some of the people in Astralis may be a little bit scorned by, like, the whole Zonic not wanting to stay thing. You'd think he'd be like a lifetime coach. Like, what does this Astralis stuff tell you is going on over there?
I think it's more like it's. From my perspective, it feels like more the players might not want to stay more than the org not wanting the players to stay. I think that, but I might be wrong. Like, I have no clue.
I mean, there's plenty of reasons for Dupree not to stay, right? Like, he has device and an IP. There's like a spot essentially open there, possibly.
Isn't that crazy to think about?
And he has S attack. Like, if you think about it, like, he has S attack in complexity, obviously, big body and stuff like that. Config might be going out, Dupree might be going in. Like, it's kind of like just a swap between those two, and that's like both those spots make perfect sense to me.
Imagine this.
I think Dupree speaks pretty good Swedish as well. He used to have a Swedish girlfriend. I used to meet, it was so random. I met him going, like, this was maybe I can't remember what year. It was like a couple of years ago. I met him at my airport, and I'm usually the only guy traveling from my airport when we're going to a tournament. And I met him, and I was like, what you doing here? But then he lived in Sweden, so he speaks fairly well Swedish. So I don't think it's out of the question that he potentially could be a player to an IP, and he's always played with device,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not out of the picture.
I mean, that was like the rumor at some point. I don't think it was very reputable, but that was more like
CSGO leaks.
Yeah, something like that. Exactly.
I was I was building some ridiculous story in my head, right, where like Blame and Config go to Astralis, right? Like, Blame doesn't have to in-game lead, right? I think and then he can do his lurking shit.
That could make sense as well.
They need someone to lurk, right? Like Glaive, Bubsky, Lucky, that's your pack. You have Config off doing whatever the fuck he wants. You got Blame off doing whatever the fuck he wants, right? Then you just, like, if I'm Jason Lake, you fucking get yourself a Magisk, you get yourself a Dupree, you get yourself a Zonic as a coach, you get yourself an S attack. Why the fuck not?
You just create the new Astralis.
Why the fuck not? Like, you get.
I could see that. I could see that happening for sure. Yeah.
If I was Jason,
I think it would be very. I don't know how long of a contract Blame has, and if it's the same as Configs, because I feel like they locked him in. Like, I think there's a very, very high possibility that Blame has a longer contract than Config has. Configs is running out. That's why, like, the move is happening like at the beginning of the year. That's kind of like how it turns out. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking, that Blame F might be locked in just because he was like the main piece that Complexity built around, right? Like, he's the game leader, he's your big star, blah 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 blah. He was like the centerpiece of that roster. So, like, if he got a 3-year deal, there's no way he's leaving for Astralis unless there's like some other powers at hand.
Okay. All right. We got
Like
anything else?
magical powers I'm talking about, because
No,
it's
I
like
know, I
probably
know.
like $1 billion buyout or some shit.
But if they can just, it could be like a nice little swapsy, right? Like if I don't know. Anyway,
But well, Astralis are running out. Their contracts are running out. There's no swapping contracts there.
you're
man.
right. You're right. You're right. You're right. All right. Does
But
anyone
like
else-
this is just speculation, by the way. Like it's entirely possible that he only got a 3-year contract when he joined Complexity 2 years ago, whenever it was, right? So it's entirely possible that they're running out at the same time. But I just don't. I don't believe it.
Look, either way, it's fun to have these conversations. Now,
Yeah.
Does anyone else have anything they want to say on this config stuff, or should we jump into the flamie and SANJI stuff?
No, let's go flamie.
Number one.
Okay, now
Flame dog.
this one here, I won't lie, I didn't necessarily keep a lot of tabs on. I just saw that flamie was now no longer a part of Navi, and I read somewhere in like a tabloid. Shit, I can't say that anymore, can I? I've got to make sure. Was it a tab? I read it somewhere. Yeah, got to be careful, man. Can't just be saying things. Now the whole SANJI being removed from VP. Now I remember Dastan saying if they didn't qualify for the major, if they did shit at the major, that there was going to be roster changes anyway. So
it wasn't Dastan, it was like their CEO or something. Higher up. Yeah.
Okay. The guy who gave the Mercedes?
No, it's like probably 3 guys changed that position since then. So
okay. All right. Well, either way, some changes in the CIS. Now, flamie, we haven't seen him do anything in a long time, right? Like since he got benched in
start of
Navi.
the year or something, yeah.
So he's just been fucking chilling. Like flamie's doing whatever flamie does. And I don't know what's going on. I don't have a VK account. I don't know if he's fucking playing in whatever pug systems they got. I got no idea. But does anybody here think that flamie has a future competing at the top? Or do we think he's going to fall down the cracks? Is there going to be a flamie resurgence, or is it just going to be a flat flamie playing for whatever team?
I think he could do it, even though I wouldn't bet on it.
Okay.
Like he seems like a type of a player, like kind of reminds me like of an RPK in terms of like he's gonna play, but he doesn't have the simple desire. He's not that type of a player that's gonna do everything to play, and when shit goes wrong, he's gonna like do double the amount of work so he can get out of the situation. I'm not sold that he's that kind of a player. I like even back the Hellraisers or whatever times, I feel like he wasn't he was just a player that was super skilled. That's his biggest part. So I don't know if he has it in him to grind back, even though skill wise I believe he could do it. Like he's 24. He's actually 24. He's super young.
That's crazy
still.
how young he is.
Like the big problem that I see with it though is like even if he could do it, and even if he had it in him or whatever, like he's not going to get it. Like with the amount of talent that CIS is producing, he's not going to get a chance in one of the top teams at this point. Like you have 4 teams essentially who are like competing for a top 20 spot and stuff like that, and the CIS. None of them will take flamie at this point. Like there's no way that there's too much.
Like an Entropic wouldn't take flamie if they fail or something like that.
Maybe
I feel like that.
I think there's too much. I think there's too many players from like the lower tiers where there's like too many players that are interesting in there. Like there's so much talent that CS is turning out that I don't see them taking a chance on a guy who, kind of like exited Navi at like his lowest point in his career, Like that's kind of where I'm looking at it. So even if I believe that he had it in him, he could do it again, he could be at the top, whatever. I just don't think anybody will give him the chance.
I mean,
so
but then again, you have people like Hobbit who like also he won the major, but then he also kind of dropped off, right? But then he joined like Gambit while they were still grinding the tier 2 and just made his way back, and now he's like the Hobbit that won the major basically, if not better. So I think it's all about the motivation. It's all about like if he wants to do the grind. I honestly think it would be better for flamie to not join like a team like VP, like prove to the top teams then instead that you want to grind yourself back to the top and join like a lesser skilled team with a lot of young talent like Hobbit did, to prove to everyone that you're willing to do the grind, you're willing to not only join a tier 1 team and to play the biggest tournaments. Like it is like what Hobbit did haven't been done by many players.
Yeah, flamie should be playing for Navi Junior in the upcoming season, which is like maybe a month-long season that's going to start very soon of the Academy League.
Which is allowed?
Because he's 24, you can still.
Why wouldn't it?
I think it's 24 or 25 for one player that they can have, which is older. Yeah, there is something like that.
All right.
There's
I thought
some
There's an
sort of-
actual rule
limited.
like that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, there is something like that. But
Okay.
that's why like Fnatic Academy had. I think Keve is a bit older.
He's a bit
and-
older, yeah.
Yeah, and I think Big have one player that's a bit older. So there is some sort of rule in terms of age, I think, until 21 for most players, 21, 22, something like that. And then you can have one a bit older player. But yeah, that's
Okay.
kind of thing. But he is a free agent. He's out of the contract, but he's going to be, now that he's out of the contract, he's going to be playing for Navi Junior, which is kind of confusing, but still could be exactly what friberg is talking about, like his opportunity to just like destroy all of these kids, and then people are like, okay,
Get some
this
confidence.
this guy has something, right?
I would be interested to see, because I get so many people, right? And I think when we all look at m0NESY play, we think that like he can be something big, right? He seems like a pretty skilled individual. But the thing that like cracks me up is I've been streaming a bit recently, and people come into the stream and they're like, "What happens to poor m0NESY? Does he go to another team? Like, what does he do? Like, because he's never going to get up into the Navi squad because Simple's there." I'm like, guys, you've seen him play in a fucking Academy League tournament. Like, what are we talking about here? Have I lost my mind in thinking the kids, they're obviously good, right? And they're grinding hard and they have the support of these orgs, right? They're good players, but they're not tier 1 level professional Counter-Strike players. Like, what are we talking about here? This kid's just gonna join like another Xizt-esque situation, are we? Is that what people are assuming? Like, am I off base with this? Have I not been paying enough attention? Has anyone been paying attention?
I think his rating is super insane enough to warrant a better team than an academy team. Like, and I think when people talk about like they take it so far as if now this guy we're talking about, his career 3 years from now, but today he could play in a top 4, top 5 like CIS team probably.
Sure,
that's
yeah,
probably
no, and that's not a question.
Yeah, so but maybe
know?
that's how he elevates his game faster than playing in an academy team. I think that's the kind of the worry for me. Is
Okay.
Would Navi sell him to a team like that though?
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Yeah.
Oh, he's pretty good, and he's a part of our team, so we might play that team.
Let's just sell him. We're just pro our main competitor.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh dear. Okay. So yeah, all right. I got a little bit sidetracked there with that whole academy stuff. But the SANJI situation, just quickly here. Does anybody think that SANJI is the problem with VP?
I think we talked about this before. We can just ask friberg. So
friberg, do you think that SANJI is the issue with VP?
I don't think so. I don't know. It's like
the guy never has a fucking
weird
gun.
But it's weird. Like, yeah, like he's playing a lot of the shit roles, and kicking a player like that usually doesn't help a team become a lot better. Honestly, like
the way they approach the game's fucked.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Like they have a very different way of playing the game. I'd say. I don't know. I have I like players like myself buying the SMGs, throwing the flashbangs, and get another superstar in, and who's gonna throw the flashbang, who's gonna buy the SMGs, and it's gonna tear on people's confidence, like that they have to do the dirty work. And yeah, I don't know. It's hard, but then again, it could be a very positive thing as well. You get maybe more firepower, and that's what your team needs. You have to identify like what is the team lacking? Is it strats, firepower, people baiting? I don't know. You have to figure that shit out.
Yeah.
I mean, some people like a change like that could also like make kind of like top to down changes in Virtus Pro as well, and just like kind of, I don't know, start off like more of an overhaul in terms of like their actual play style.
Yeah.
Obviously, that would kind of take like an in-game leader coming in or something like that, somebody with like a strong mind. I'm not sure if there's somebody like that. Like nobody comes to mind in terms of somebody like that. What? Sorry.
Nickelback.
Oh, okay. They got Nickelback from Entropic. But yeah, that's like one of those things that I'm thinking about. Like if they do get like an in-game leader instead of Jame and just kind of like overhaul the team that way, then I can see it. If not, it's just kind of be like an firepower upgrade, which doesn't necessarily have to be bad, but like it does bring with it those problems that Adam was talking about,
Okay.
There was this ridiculous rumor, it might be even Overdrive, but might be someone else who, I think it's not him, I think it was someone else from the CIS scene that tweeted the replacement for SANJI is going to be a player whose name starts with F.
That's Krizen. Krizen said that.
Did he?
Yeah.
That was fucking amazing. I
Right,
love
boys,
that.
it's time. to announce.
Friberg.
I'm just kidding.
Fucking hell.
Look, a
But
guy with
it might
look,
be
a guy with
Flit.
F is
It might be
somebody.
Flit though, if that's the implication. Flit is a pretty good player to join, even though I don't see it as a replacement for SANJI, and Friberg said everything. It's going to be complicated to just adjust to that.
All right. We're good?
Yeah.
Striker?
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah.
All right. I thought you wanted to say something. I was
No,
looking
I
at
was
you.
just laughing.
I was looking at you.
Friberg is smiling so much. I feel like this might be real now.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
All right, it's here first. Flit is joining VP. All right, guys. Look, should we keep it going? Are we all content with the CIS?
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
Next piece of news, and thank bloody God, it all got sorted out. It just took the entire Counter-Strike scene in Sweden to come together. They sent some emails, they petitioned the government, and they worked it out because the PGL major, is going to take place as planned in Stockholm in late October. So we're not too far away from that now. So this is great. This is really good news because I think couple of reasons I think it's great. One is because we're getting to the point where it's almost been a decade since the first CSGO major took place, and that was in Sweden, in Jönköping, in DreamHack 2013. And that feeds into the fact that with what Adam was talking about earlier in terms of there not being a crazy amount of support in Sweden for these younger teams, maybe having a big scale event like this, packing out an arena, even in one of these uncertain times that is the vid, could actually do a lot for the eyes, right? 10 years is a long time, right? And in that time, maybe there's some new companies or whatever that might want to get involved and sponsor some teams. So this could actually be a really good thing for the grassroots of Swedish Counter-Strike. And we definitely want to make sure that Sweden are getting the support they need. Wow, why don't I say this about North America? But I think this could be a positive from that standpoint. But all in all, it's a positive that the event, is going to take place as planned, and we don't have to change things, right? It's showing that maybe there is less uncertainty in the world than what we were all experiencing just a couple of months ago. So this news is good. I did see some stuff about people saying tickets were quite expensive. Did anybody have a look at the ticket prices?
Somebody said 200 for the whole thing, which I feel like is pretty reasonable.
Yeah,
I don't see that. It was like 40 per day, and then 200 for the whole thing or something like that.
Yeah,
which is 4 days, I think.
I get for younger kids, maybe kids don't have enough money, or if you're a mum and you want to take the whole,
I feel like,
bunch
come
of
on,
kids.
like in Sweden, this is not some like insane price. I feel like, surely.
I agree.
If you go to a concert in Sweden, it's gonna be like half of that, perhaps like between somewhere. It depends on who you're watching, obviously, but above 50 for like one night of going to a concert, right? So like, I think it's definitely okay, like price range wise. Hopefully, we have parents willing enough to pay their kids to go watch CS. It would be a shame to have like a not filled globe in Sweden, but I think there's going to be a lot of people coming, especially from abroad as well, like Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland.
Right.
Like I think there's people play CS here in these countries, so I think it's going to be a lot of people. It's going to be great.
And
love to play
your country also kind of allows a lot of people in, so it's not like it's just has to be the neighboring countries, like right? Like a lot of people can come in from elsewhere as well, as long as it's possible.
Well, Denmark, right? People can come over from Denmark, not Copenhagen. It's not a fucking country. But look, other than the headline, is there much else around this? It's just good that it came through, I guess.
Yeah,
no,
pretty much.
Yeah.
Nothing else. All right. Well, that the recent news, we've bloody done it. We don't even need, Lucas. We don't need to roll on the bumper, do we? We're good.
They even allowed the athletes, like esports athletes now, to have like the pro visa, like the normal athletes, how you say it, like for sports. So we can have the same, but they did it like a month too late, so that Dota TI couldn't be hosted there.
Yeah, that's
Pepperoni.
That's in. They're doing that in Bucharest, right? They're doing that in Romania, the TI stuff. Yeah, it's crazy, right? That they would like. You'd think you must have some real fucking boomers in the Swedish government, right? At the moment.
Yeah, we do. It's, I don't know, especially since we've been like
number one
leading.
esports.
Yeah, I shouldn't be leading, but like we've been one of the countries that's been supporting esports for a very long time, with DreamHack, for example.
Yeah. Like it feels like part of the Swedish identity was every time I'd go to Sweden for an event and they go, "What are you here for?" You go DreamHack. They go, "Oh shit," like everybody knew what fucking DreamHack was, right? So it was a little bit odd. But let's keep it moving. Let's get into the Blast discussion here, boys. Anyone got anything they want to cap off in the recent news before we get ahead of ourselves? Good. We're good.
Yeah.
All right. Lucas, you here? Fucking producer left. The producer. All right, good. I'm just checking. All right, I want to send you a link here, but I'm not on TeamSpeak on this computer. So give me one second.
To be honest, we already kind of talked about Astralis. I don't know how much we have to talk about Astralis.
I was just going to link the group so we could just go over the results.
Yeah,
just
that's
quickly.
fine.
I don't really want to get too stuck into what's going on there.
I want to talk about the update. We need to get into the update.
For sure. Yeah. Just bring that one up, Lucas. And we're going to go through groups A and Group B really, really quickly for everybody. So this has been going over the last week. So as you guys are aware, Blast has been on. I'm sure I've been watching all of that goodness. We've got Astralis, EG, Vitality, Liquid. That was Group A. Now, coming out of that group was Vitality and Astralis. Vitality topped the group. Personally, for me, I am a little bit disappointed in Liquid. I thought that Liquid looked really, really good in EPL. And I think losing to an Astralis with Zipex, even though he's a great player, they didn't have Glaive in the server for some weird reason. Glaive was there like kind of semi-coaching. It was all a little bit odd for me. But for me in that group, my biggest disappointment was Liquid. Does anybody have any takeaways from Group A they want to bring up?
No, like just like the way that they lost the third map as well to Astralis. Like that was also another one. There was 12-6 on Dust 2, I think. Again, kind of like a winning situation, and they choke it, right? Like that was the rough one for me. Like, sure, I guess we didn't expect Astralis to be this competitive. Like that's one of those things, right? And we expected Liquid to be above them, but like the way that they lost it was the bad factor for me.
Lucky had a great Dust too, though, didn't he?
Yeah,
I remember Riley, he started to pop off, which is great. I think it's really good signs for him in the future. That team, obviously, is going to be a lot of like betting him into the squad and him getting used to having to play in this level of Counter-Strike. So yeah, all in all, I think that's what we expected for EG, right? I don't think anybody here was expecting a lot from them. And I think in terms of the French, it's good to see them continuing a bit of consistency. And Kyojin also looked good in a couple of patches there. And I feel like Prof, remember last year we spoke about it. I think it was a Discord or something about like it was like a breakout game for Masuta. Like he had a really good Dust 2 performance or some shit.
I remember that. Yeah, it was a Dust 2. It was a Dust 2. And we were like, oh, this guy's stepping into it. This could be that. This could be that for
it could be a bit early though, huh? That's
I mean, it's not like Masuta really just took off immediately after that, but that's something that as a player, I guess you can look back to and see, okay, I can do this, you know.
Yeah. But he had that really nice ace, right? The fucking smashed him coming out long doors. All right, let's get into Group B, and we'll get you involved in this one here, Adam. So Group B is the one that just concluded yesterday. G2, everybody, G2, they did it again.
I'm sure friberg is happy that G2 is in the showdown with Dignitas. That's
more points to get, right?
Oh dear, Adam. What do you think, right? Just from you taking a look at this team in the grand final of the first LAN we've had back since COVID's been fucking going, right? They get slammed by Na'Vi again, but that's here nor there. But in back-to-back events, out of the break, right? We'll give them EPL. EPL, they come out of the player break, maybe they're a little bit groggy, they're not haven't all been playing enough, and they lose. But the Blast event, they even did a boot camp. What the fuck?
I don't know. It felt like you saw some signs of them being they were better than what they were at EPL, definitely. I'm pretty sure they were really close against NIP.
Yeah, it was one map up, and Mirage was like 13-10 lead, something like that, 13-9. I don't know.
Then NIP owned them the last map, right? I think, yeah, but I don't know. They looked a lot better. I don't know. Maybe it's confidence. Maybe I don't know what it is. They're not a bad team. Like, I don't know. It just feels like they maybe it's a bit like to have like this day-to-day feeling. Because I don't know, watching them some days and playing against them some days they're just insane. And like them, Big aren't a bad team, should be said, but maybe they should maybe beat Big. So I don't know. It's Counter-Strike. I think it's coming back to what I talked about before. It's getting closer and closer, but then again, you have these, like I'd say you have Na'Vi, you have Gambit, but the rest, like top 3 to 15, maybe even higher up, it's a lot about how they're feeling on the daily. on the under day.
They're probably not feeling very good right now. Let's just let's put that, because
Probably not.
EPL was a Nico carry performance, right? Like he was the only one who really showed up for work after the player break, right? This one again was another massive Nico performance, and everybody else not up to par. Like Amanek was better than he was at EPL, right? Hunter, similar, we'll say, right? But the team as a whole here, not being able to function at this level, right? The conversation, I thought, Prof, I don't know if you were here, was starting to be about, okay, can they win a trophy? Not can they make it out of a group stage? Wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. Things changed.
In a month.
I don't want to be like Yanko, because he's if you want to read some hate on G2, you can just open up I think just twitter.com/YNK. A lot of good shit there. But definitely not good. And even if you say like Amanek had a better tournament statistically, yes, but it's still, when you watch the games, he plays some rounds well, and some rounds he just misses shots you can't miss. You literally cannot miss a guy walking in your crosshair. You're holding down B. You need that first kill to reposition, to get maybe another one, have another player come in, stuff like that. I think like him as an opper, he was on a trajectory where like, okay, maybe this can work. I think I'm kind of leaning towards this can't work. I think I'm in that camp. That is one of the issues, but other issues are like, seems like it's just like in some of these rounds, maybe friberg says on days, but I feel like from round to round, things are completely different for this team. Like in one round, they make this play. This was against Big on Inferno. They got to, I think, 14 rounds, and Big was like on a force buy. They made this play on Inferno to like get info alt mid. They got info early with some utility and just rotated over to B. Big came B. They destroyed them. Like, wow, this is just so super simple, not overcomplicated. They found some info. They stacked everything nice. And then the next round, they're doing some like super weird shit, over rotates, people missing shots, communication doesn't exist. It feels like it's just so weird. And I feel like that is what is missing. Is missing like the team is missing. That's what is missing more than all of these issues. Okay, maybe Jax isn't fragging, not doing enough individually. Amanek is not great as an opper, but I think the team is missing mostly.
Oh dear. Okay. Striker, does this feel like another situation with what Prof's saying, where it gets framed as Nico is the problem and he's bringing another team down, or do you think?
I'm sure some fans actually think that, but fucking come on, like Nico was opening up rounds for them, and then they just lost all of them anyway. Like those 5v4s, and especially in that Inferno against Big that they lost in overtime, like it was 26-10 in opening kills in favor of G2, and they lost it. They lost it in overtime. Like that, you can't do that as a top team. Like you can't lose so many advantages as a top team. Like nobody, if you look at like any sort of like top 5 team, that was in any sort of consistent form, like they're always good at least like converting advantages, right? And we just don't see that with G2. They're just super inconsistent, and like almost every facet, like literally Nico is the only kind of like shining light in that team consistently. Like everybody else is kind of like hot and cold. Sometimes just like one player just doesn't turn up. It doesn't even have to be Jax. Like it can be Nexa, or it can be Amanek as well. It's just super inconsistent in those 3 players. Even Hunter, to be fair, like he wasn't in the best of shapes even here after kind of a rough Cologne. So Cologne, not EPL. So like we always come back to this with G2, and I don't know what the answer for them is. Like I don't think, like I'm getting to a point where I don't think like this lineup as a whole works. Like you just have to have some sort of a big change.
Yeah. But that's the thing, right? I don't think any of us here would be expecting a roster change until after the major, right? I think that for them. But that is why I think I have a little bit of a different question here, because it's not should there be a roster change, because I think there's still like a top 3 team in the world right now. I think the conversation is, are they still a trophy contender? Because that was where the conversation had gotten to. And since we've come back from the player break, that is no longer the conversation, right? At the moment, it seems like they're in a bit of a free fall. They can obviously undo all of this, right? If they have a good showing at the RMR and they're able to qualify for the major and do well there, they don't have to win it, right? They just have to do well. But do we think that this team is still in the conversation for winning trophies? Does anybody here think that this team is still in the conversation for winning trophies? I'm obviously talking the best of the best tournaments here. I'm not talking about a fucking 9-5 or a Pinnacle Cup or some shit, or even
no offense.
no. But
Kappa.
like, I need to sometimes I need to do that because people they like to play these little word games, right? In the comments. So, like I mean, like the biggest and best events. I don't even mean like an IEM Summer. Like I mean like a proper tier 1, all the big names. Do we think that this team can do it? Does anybody think that?
Like the thing is, like we've seen patches from the team. Maybe like obviously not in this season. It's just necessarily like it's in the past month, but we've obviously seen patches where they can turn up for an entire tournament. And like we saw that, for example, in Cologne, right? Like that's probably the best example. And like you were saying about how they got slammed by Navi, it wasn't even that like one-sided, that final, even if it was a 3-0, right? So
yeah, that was the closest they've gotten.
Yeah, pretty much. So like we know that G2 can hit that level. The problem is like they can't do it consistently. Like even within one tournament, like they turn up in one series or even one map, and the next map, like 3 people disappear. You know, it's just like all over the place with this team, and constantly, like it's never changed. Like the patch towards the end of the last season was like the first time in forever where they had some sort of consistency tournament to tournament. Like that was the only time. So like now we're kind of see them regress back to what we knew them for, right? Like just like hitting these patches where they can be a really good team in one series and then they just disappear in the other. And that's really what keeps happening again. So yeah, that's where I stand with G2 now.
Okay. Well, then not the only talking point from that group, I suppose. The other quick one here was I think big with Gade. I think that is coming along pretty nicely. Right? Anyone have any comments on Big? There's probably not too much here. I guess it's just like a wait and see, because they're a team who now I feel like most of us are giving them time. Right? You've just added a guy whose native language isn't German. He speaks German though, and they're going to make it work. They've just got rid of Centaurus. They've had him for ages. All right, that's kind of the big story. The NIP one though, that was nice to see. Right? It was good. It was good to see. Right? They showed some good Counter-Strike here. It wasn't even the device show. Right? Rez is having some great performances. Adam, as the resident Swede that we've got on the show tonight, does NIP give you some faith? Do you think that current lineup, even with this whole Linus situation, I don't know how much you've been keeping tabs on that nonsense, but do you think this team's looking all right?
Yeah, I think they're doing really well, but I agree with you. It's just weird with the the Linus situation. Like they should just get their lineup set. Like it just, I don't know if I'm fully aware of how they're doing it. But like have a 5th guy and sign him. I'm sure that the other guys in NIP, they don't want to have like a guy who can go either in or out for another tournament. They just want their lineup so they can work on it and they, look towards the future. But I'm really impressed with NIP, especially Res. I think he's obviously always been good, but I think he's been just getting better and better almost the last couple of tournaments. So shout out to him. And Hampus is doing Hampus things, just disappearing from the map. In a way, like it's not like looking like GetRight, because GetRight was lurking. Hampus is like aggressively lurking in a very different way, but you can see some sort of similarities to how GetRight played the game back in the days. Like he's a very annoying player to play against. Yeah, NIP looking strong for sure.
Okay. Boys, any comments on this before we move into the update, get to the juicy shit?
There's a question in chat directly addressed to you. SpongeChat Chad Birchall says, discuss Monesi to G2. So
yeah.
Actually, why not? Yeah, let's
to be honest, might as well buy out like Zaiwu probably.
That's what I keep telling Carlos to do. That's what. Then I got involved in some League of Legends fucking tagging each other bullshit today. I was like, can we keep this shit out of there? Yeah, anyway.
Well, Carlos tagged Zaiwu specifically in the response to you, so there you go.
That's true.
You got something. You achieved something.
It just baited the ownership of Vitality into the conversation.
Red alert and Vitality opposites.
It's just like, red flags. Just
check Zaiwu's phone, check his mom's phone, check all of the pigeons around the house.
Yeah, there's no, you can poach in Counter-Strike, go fucking nuts. What you can't do in League of Legends, you can do in CS all you fucking want every day of the week. So don't worry about that. All right, let's get into the good stuff. Everybody ready?
Let's go.
All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there's a Counter-Strike update. thank bloody God, because I feel like people were starting to get real horny for some new content. So we got a new operation, Riptide. It kind of fits with the surfing gags we were making last time rounds. No surf mod added to the game, which is what
That's so stupid, man. Everybody was like, yes, surfing mod coming finally.
That it didn't even get into the game. But look, that isn't obviously the biggest takeaway. So let's start with the maps. Let's just start with the order that has been placed in front of me here. The two biggest changes for us in the competitive map pool were the Dust 2 change, which we'll dive into the most. The ancient bomb site changes. Adam, have you taken a look at the ancient bomb site changes? What do you reckon? They've been expanded a little bit. Do you think it's enough to make a reasonable difference?
A little bit, yeah, but still maybe not enough. Like planting on A site.
Fucking horrible.
Ancient, it's rough. I think they also expanded a little bit on the B site. I'm not. Yeah.
Both sites, I believe.
Yeah, but I think the spamming on the ancient was like the more significant change. Like you
With
can
the wall
now
bangs.
spam. Yeah, you can wallbang, like I don't know what you say, like noob corner on B sites, like the cubby. And also like ruins is more spammable and stuff like that. So I think it's gonna be different how they play, how teams set up, especially on CT. Like you can easily now spam a guy standing on the pillar B site, and yeah. But then again, I love change. Like they put in a new map, Valve, and they just constantly like change it. They're probably gonna keep on changing it, like looking at the meter and stuff like that. So it's just good that they do something about the maps. Let's not become like 1.6 where nothing changes, right?
Very style,
yeah. So I think I like changes like the rest of the updates as well. I like it.
I was very surprised that the ancient update was so minor to the map. Was anybody like I was expecting a lot more changes? Like they have a lot of data because they took a long time to do this.
It was like 4 months or something, yeah.
Yeah, and like I was saying on broadcast on this podcast, and I was fucking tweeting about it. Even had the screenshot of the conversation I had with them, where as soon as we saw the issue with the wooden changes when they changed the color, that's what made the issue. They DM'd me and they said that that wasn't an intended thing and they'll fix it in the next update. And then fucking 4 months later, then the update comes. That makes me look like an absolute lion clown.
I was feeling bad for you. I was just thinking like the other day, literally like 3 days before the update, I'm like, that wallbang still hasn't been fixed.
Yeah.
People are probably calling Sponge a fucking liar the whole time. Someone's upset every time they die and can't spam back from the other side. It's ridiculous.
The fact they didn't fix the water, people in chat are talking about, is another good point. So are they even? The thing is, are they even aware? I know that sounds ridiculous, but this is the thing. Has somebody taken it, replicated the bug, and sent it to Valve? Because like that's the thing. I don't know. I don't know. I don't fucking. That's obviously we want that to be fixed, right? That's probably one of the bigger things to fix straight away here.
It's on every map. Like where there's water, overpass. You have like Inferno. You can bait by jumping in like the water on B side. Like,
yeah. I don't know. I guess we're gonna see if we can fix that one. Prof?
I mean, regarding Ancient, I'm just surprised about the bomb site update, like the bomb plant area.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's an issue, but I thought they were gonna make a bit more cover because, especially on the B bomb site, like you increase the size of the bomb site, but you still can't plant anywhere because there's like the one pillar that's not even enough to cover you from 2 angles. You can go like in one spot, maybe more to the right, so he can wallbang you from the right but not from the left, and do it for the same thing. It's just kind of just make it a bit bigger so you can actually fit somewhere and fairly safely like hide from one side. Like for pro matches, this is super annoying. Like you have to smoke, but people at least know smokes and shit. I don't know how it is for casuals. Like you can't plant ever. Like how does that even work for that? I feel like for casuals it's even more annoying, and they want to cater to the casuals. So I'm just confused about that. There's literally like no safe place to plant on Ancient.
True. You're correct. I was playing around with it today a little bit, and I was theory crafting some ideas for the B bomb site. Now, what you could do if you mollied the right side of that massive block, you can plant closer to that big block, so you can't get spammed from the left side, right?
Yeah.
So you could do that, but then you need to have cave control, and you need to molly the right side. And then on A, if you get full site control, you can push in as long as you have donut. you can plant in a safe position where you can't die from CT or temple. So it's like
on A, it's a bit better. Now you can use that one side of the box that is kind of useful.
Just a little bit. But that's not the major change. So fuck Ancient, even though I love the map, fuck Ancient. This is the one that is actually kind of insane, is Dust 2. Now, people have been complaining about this for the longest time, right? Obviously, having to burn a smoke just to cross the mid doors. So what they've done is they've added a wall in front of T-spawn in Suicide so that you can't no longer from spawn see straight down the guts of middle, right? If people have played around with it, you need to jump into Suicide. You can do a little boost there so you can see lower or go for a regular mid pick, but there's still a way to go for that mid fight if you so choose, right? Now it's more of a narrow angle. If you want to go there as a T, the CT can take that fight. That update right there, and Adam, we're going to go to you with this. Do you think that that will completely change the way that the map is going to be played?
Yeah. I think so. Like, either you commit 2 people to do the boost in Suicide to make sure that they don't push lower. The CTs can also save nades by not like throwing a smoke mid instantly to cross safely to B, so you can play more with utility. But I think the major change is like the CTs might have the opportunity to push into lower tunnels without being seen instantly if they have a really good spawn. But yeah, I think we're gonna see maybe a bit slower paced T sides where, you know, I guess that every team is gonna do the Suicide boosts, especially now in the start, because otherwise they have to play like super slow. The CTs might have pushed into lower B. They might, you know, you don't have that information, then you have to take it a lot slower. Most of the times you just have the op standing in T-spawn, making sure no one pushes into lower, right? So you can just have that for free. You don't have that anymore. So I think it's good. The map, how the map is gonna be played is, it's gonna be similar, but it's gonna be slower paced because of the T's are gonna do the boost in Suicide every round.
Sure. Yeah. Could you see a world here, Striker, where the mid on Dust 2 could be played like hyper aggressively by the CTs?
Right. Well, I don't know if that's gonna be possible just because of I agree with Adam that the boost is going to be pretty prevalent, so it's going to be pretty hard to get in there. But at the same time, like the T's, if you do the boost, like you open yourself up much more to the op angle from the CTs than you did before. Like before, you basically like only your head was basically showing if you were like spotting mid. It was very hard for the CT to take that angle as an op, or you know, like an op and op duel.
It's a much narrower fight.
Well, now, even though like you could kind of like hide behind the corner in that boost or like behind the boxes or whatever like that, you're still way more open and you're kind of stationary. You can't really hide. So like that angle is definitely harder. So maybe that's what's going to happen because of that boost being so much riskier than just like a normal op to op duel.
It's also spawn based, right?
Yeah, right.
The opper needs to have good spawn to make the jump and be there before the CT peaks.
Yeah. So like that's going to definitely play into it. Like that fight will probably happen a lot more now that there's that risk involved for the T, and he can't just like fucking like duck down and hide from the op angle, just move a little bit over to the left and just duck back up and be like in an advantage almost every time that they take that peak, right? So like that's going to definitely change the whole dynamic about like the op not having to be so afraid about taking that duel, right? Like there's definitely going to be avenues there. Whether whether people will actually push up mid, I guess it depends on spawns entirely. Like if you don't have that spawn and if you just don't know that whether the op is there in that boost or not, then you probably can. But then you can't. But if you have a good enough spawn, then you can just like take that advantage, push lower or even push mid, and like have the op cover that angle, you know, that boost, and then you can play more aggressively in middle. Like this is something that I've already thought about just because of like when we were first talking about Dust 2 changes. Like my entire idea was just to close off Suicide entirely, and you just change that dynamic completely, right? Like mid is now a contestable area entirely, and this helps do that for sure. I don't know if it's going to open up like every time, but like the spawns, definitely with the right spawns and with the right setup, maybe you just like flash over to counter that boost and the op peaks and you have like 2 people lower or 2 people pushing up mid or smoking top mid and just like making sure that it's contested. Like that's something that I could see now happen for sure.
You can very easily smoke off the tiny gap in Suicide now and molly back a cap.
Yeah.
You can have full mid control. You can post up on short. You can have lower dart control. You don't even need to go B. If you can get a guy to sneak lower tunnels and he can contest upper and hold that angle from the stairs, you can then keep your B AWPer, right, watching mid. And then as soon as your lower guy takes pressure, he falls lower, your AWPer swings and covers B from doors, and he still can help mid. And then you've like, I think that now, because long has become just, ever since Na'Vi just kept going long in 2020, right? That is something that we see teams do as soon as they have long spawns now. With the thing that has changed, and what Adam was talking about with the spawns, your AWPer has the option now of, fuck, do I drop mid to spot them going lower, or do we just all out long? You have to make the choice now as a team. Before, it was like, it didn't matter, because like, well, they're not going to push lower dark. It doesn't matter if we go fast long. They're never going to contest this area of the map. Now, it's a risk. Now it's like, well, do we use the long spawn, or do we contest mid? Now it's not just going to be so one-dimensional. Now on the CT side, I'm thinking, okay, good spawn. I'm going to go lower. I've got a really good CT AWPer. Simple. He only has to watch this tiny little gap of suicide now. It's no longer this massive cavernous void of mid. He's on the railing. He's on the left. He's on the right. He's ducking. He's doing this. He's doing that. Now it's this little gap, right? If I have a confident CT AWPer, fucking watch suicide. I'll run lower. I trust you. You're going to hit that shot. It's more like it was in 1.6 where the fight was that angle, right? So that's where I think a fight can change. And then now, all right, give them long. We've got lower dark straight away. They can fucking have long. We already know it's not B 10 seconds into the round. Whereas before we have to do an aggro up a dark move. We have to go a little bit slow. We have to wait for the util. Now you can lock down mid. You can push lower dark. If you boost short, they can't jump on the suicide box anymore to see the short push. You can just fucking bang, straight up catwalk off of a fast boost. The amount of stuff I think you can do on the CT side now is in tune with what Adam was saying. It's slower T sides, or it's going to give the CTs more options to at least make the Ts, instead of, okay, 2B, 3A, 1 mid long, 1 CT spawn, 1 anchor pit. The CT setup now can be versatile. And here's the thing. Initially, when I read about it and I was like, it kind of sucks you can't see lower, I've thought about it more. The map has been the same, practically the same, for the better part of 20 fucking years, right? It's probably about time we have a new meta on Dust 2, even if it's only slightest. It's like teams are still going to get mid control. They're still going to get up cat. They're still going to do cat executes. They're still going to do all in longs. They're still going to do B explodes. They're still going to do mid to Bs. It's just going to be, how do we get there? Which hopefully, for a viewer perspective, will stop people having to watch 5 terrorists get out long doors and sit there for 45 seconds while they wait for the CTs to use their utility.
The CIS does too.
Thank fucking God.
I mean, to be fair, I think that's even going to be... I think the long take is going to be even more prevalent because of the mid changes, like, to a degree. Like, just because that's, like, the only area that you can take almost easily now. Like, that's the only open area that you can take easily. Like, sure, you can get into cat.
Yeah.
And you can get into cat, but what do you do with that? Like, if you have 2 guys on B with utility, you can't just explode into B. Like, it's very hard until you wait for that utility, or you just pressure them off and you just go into 1 guy or something like that. Like, now long, considering that's always going to be contestable, because like the CTs, like the timings just work out that way, where you can kind of work it out, where the CTs and Ts kind of like reach the same area at the same time. Like, I almost think that it's like the map is going to become so much about long, like about early long control, and then we're going something from there that that is going to be, whatever, that is going to be even more prevalent. So I'm not super sure. Okay. Not actually sure, because like obviously, like if you let CTs have mid and just like smoke you off suicide, smoke you off like top mid, like you can have long, but you can't really do much with it.
Yeah,
like that's the problem. Yeah, so I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure how the Ts are going to solve this.
It'll be interesting. Prof, what were you saying?
I don't know. I was just looking at the CTT side of the stats. Actually, Dust 2 is on par with Inferno in terms of the most T-sided maps in like top 30 2021. Okay. 51.8%. Okay. So I guess that's gonna flip. Like, this is a CT-sided update, right? We expect that to happen.
Yeah.
But I think if Inferno is in the same position as Dust 2, that also says something about Inferno right now. Could be a meta thing, could maybe shift with the nade dropping and stuff like that, but we don't really know. But yeah, maybe Inferno is something to, maybe the next map to have a similar small update, right?
Okay. Adam?
Yeah.
Do you have to leave shortly?
Yes.
Okay. So we might have to change up the order of some of these things real quick. Let's do this. The Parry Matchmaker Prof, obviously tailored for friberg, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. This is what we're going to do. Adam, can you give us, right? I'm going to give you all the things that happened in the update. I want to hear your take on this, obviously. That's why we have you on the show. And then we have to run this Parry Matchmaker game with you, and then we can get you out of here. How's that sound?
Yep, sounds good. That's fine.
All right. So Dust 2 in general, with all the conversation we were just having, overall, where do you land on it? Think it's good? Think it's bad? What's your take?
I think it's good. I like it. It's gonna change the meta of the game, of how Dust 2 is being played, and I don't mind changes that much. Like, if we're talking economy changes, then yeah, I like the older economy a lot more than what I like the new economy. But map changes, like how you play the map and stuff like that, that's fine. Like as I said before, I don't want it to be like 1.6. I want changes. I want new maps. I want us to be, learning new stuff. So it's gonna be fun. We've only tried it out a couple of times. Like it happened, the update yesterday, I think it was. So
have you played a scrim on it yet?
Nope. Didn't scrim Dust 2 today.
All right, I was going to say, like, to be fair, you're playing an RMR event in a couple of days' time. You probably wouldn't tell me how much you're pushing on the CT side just yet, anyway.
Nope.
All right, so let's go into the weapon changes. Obviously, the M4A1S, 4 bullets to the body now, and the Deagle has been adjusted. Still at super close range, I believe it was 650 units. If I was reading correctly, you can still get 2 bullets to the fucking dick, and it's a kill. But otherwise, it's been nerfed a little bit in terms of the damage that it's doing to the body. The M4A1S, let's start there. Do you think that's going to be more common now? Like, obviously, it's going to be more common. That's a silly question. Do you think it's going to be more popular than the other M4 now?
Let's just put it this way. Even I use the silencer right now.
Oh,
and I'm not a silencer player.
Okay.
It's
Is it just a phase, or are you gonna stick?
I mean, if it's not being changed, I'm gonna stick. Like, I've been practicing with it now for 2 days, and it's so much better. Like, if the AK doesn't insta you, like, you win the spray battle against the AK. It's insane.
Okay.
How happy is f0rest right now?
He's smiling for sure. he loves it. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously, I might not have think that we needed the M4 change, to be completely honest, because it is cheaper, and for me, the biggest change, or like the best part about the silencer, is spamming smokes. And a lot of the maps that we're playing right now in professional CS is like spamming smokes, getting tags through, and like retaking. Like, put Ancient as an example, right? That you execute on UB, and you sit long, or like behind the city spawn block, and you spam, right? And now, like, it's hard to hear exactly where the silencer is shooting from. You don't have the tracers. So big buff to the CTs, I'd say, for sure.
Okay. Well, maybe we need a little bit of that at the moment, right? With all the saving and all that kind of shit. So yeah, that's not too shabby whatsoever. Okay, so the Deagle, were you in the Deagle as overpowered hype train that a lot of people were on, or did you think it was all right before?
I think it was all right. We're known as Dignitas at a few points in the last few months, but
okay.
We tried to aim at their heads, actually, so it's not a big blow to us, unfortunately. Nice try, Valve.
You didn't understand how the gun is being used these days.
We're out of the meta now, but
okay.
The thing is, like you said, if you're we've been looking into this very, very well. And
okay.
The positions where you position yourself to do body shots instead of like actually going for the headshot, it's still double body shots them from that close. So it is a nerf for sure. Was it needed? Maybe, yeah, probably, right? Will it change how you play the game? Will people stop buying Deagles? No.
Yeah.
It will still be the pistol. Like, people might opt for like a Xizt. We haven't seen the Xizt for a long time, it feels like, but like Xizt 5.7 might be used more if you want to position yourself. Like, but that's the same thing. Like, if you want to buy a Xizt, that's close range, right? And it's still 2 bullets if you want to play close range Deagle. So I don't know. I don't think it's like that big of a change, but it is a nerf.
Yeah. Okay. Now this is an important one. We don't have this one listed here, but am I going to be expecting to see Dignitas on the Julie's hype train now that it is $300 a purchase? Don't tell me, Adam, you're one of these guys who's like, they're fucking sick in practice, dude. Just wait.
No, I mean, we had Xtrfy used to be a duels player.
He did.
I haven't really fallen for it, to be completely honest with you. They are cheap. They aren't as bad as you like think they are. I got wrecked by a duelist today a couple of times. Like, people just like fucking wide swinging and owning you. So
The prac dualies, as we call them.
Exactly. Like at the same time, is the dualies better than the P250 because now they're same price? Depends, right?
Okay.
If you want a wide swing, use the dualies. If you want to aim for head, use P250. But it's I don't know. It was underused, obviously, right? No one uses the dualies. Maybe this could make people buy them or try them out a bit more, and maybe figure out that they aren't as bad as people think.
Okay. And we got the most important mechanic here for you to quickly give your opinion on. Then we'll do this matchmaker. Is obviously the grenade dropping mechanic. Now, Valve hinted about this, if people were paying attention, a couple of months ago. But people, as usual, just think that Valve say things for no reason, which is my favorite part about people.
Even I didn't think it was happening.
Me and Rush immediately went into a server and turned on the command and we're playing around with it, right? Like we were giving it a crack, like because it exists in Danger Zone, as you know. Yeah. So, but this change, right? Right now, obviously the knee-jerk reaction from the professional community, as per the usual, is, oh my fucking God, it's all burning. It's all over. The game that we love is not the same. Ah. Do you think it's going to be fucked, Adam, or do you think it's going to be fine?
I think it's going to be fine. Once again, it's just a learning curve. I think people are going to try to abuse it. I think people are going to try to, mess with people's head and just leave one guy be Inferno, give him 4 extra smokes and 4 extra mollies and let him handle everything, by themselves. We're gonna see some gimmicky stuff like the first event, which is gonna be the RMR, which is amazing. Great timing on that, Valve, right? But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how teams use it. We have found a couple of things which are really useful that we will use, and I guess that other teams will find other ways to use them. So I don't know. I'm not so conservative. I like changes. You can drop nades. You can drop guns and stuff. Dropping nades, it's not that big of a deal, and you're gonna be able to tell if it's a fake or not with a guy picking up 5 different nades and throwing them, right? You can't just have one guy doing a full BXX. You're gonna know, right? So it's what?
I hope people can tell the difference.
Yes. So I think it's fine. I like it. I like the change.
Okay. All right. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to get into this Paramatch matchmaker. Then we'll let you go. And then me, Prof, and Striker will continue talking for a little bit longer. Now, Lucas, do you have the links? Send the links. Get the link to Adam. Now, Adam, what we do, I'm going to assume here. I don't
it's
even
a,
need
it's a
to
bit
see
different.
it.
It's a bit different. I mean, it works the same. You have four teams. You're gonna have 4 teams, former teams of yours, and 4 descriptions on the right side. But it's more like a question-based thing. I forgot what I put in. Just let me see again, and I'll. Okay, yeah. So you're gonna pick one team, which is listed, and then for each team, you're going to pick one of the things that you want to talk about. It's going to be, let's say you go original NIP, you pick favorite teammate, and then you talk about who is your favorite teammate from that team, right? So that's how it works, right?
All right. You with it? You got it? You got the link? Everything good?
I think so.
Okay.
So the list is...
Let me read that out for our audio-only listeners. On the left-hand side, original NIP, EU Optic, 2018 Heroic, and 2021 Dignitas. And the descriptive terms are favorite event, favorite teammate, biggest disappointment, and biggest surprise.
All right. So, original NIP. Am I going to start with that?
Yeah,
you can start
wherever
that.
you want.
Up to you, yeah.
And then I have to pick one of these 4 on the right side?
Yes.
Okay. Original NIP. I'll just go easy and let's say favorite events. And this is only because the major is around the corner now and it's going to be in Sweden. My favorite event, which we won with NIP, was DreamHack Masters 2016 in Malmö. And I don't know, it was just amazing. Playing in front of a fully Malmö arena in Sweden with so many fans. And we were in this soundproof booth. And they were actually really good, those soundproof booths. You could hear a little bit, but I remember us cheering inside and then just opening the door and just being blasted because of the crowd. And that's just it was just an insane feeling to go out there on stage in front of I don't know how many, it was like 7,000-8,000 people in a full arena. So that was definitely, the major is obviously there as well, but this was like the coolest event which I've won was definitely DreamHack Malmö, DreamHack Masters Malmö.
Okay, nice. What do we got here? We got the next one. EU Optic.
That was a legendary team.
Yeah.
Was just circulating on Twitter the other day. So it was like you, Alu, HS, Mixwell of Valorant fame, and
Magisk.
And Magisk from Astralis fame.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if I want to put that as the biggest disappointment, but maybe it is. Like, the thing is, we were doing fine. I'm gonna go to put it at the biggest disappointment. I'm gonna go there, and the reasoning is because like we had everything which we needed to become like a really good, or like a more stable team, which is basically we qualified for everything in NA, and NA was super easy. Like, we qualified for everything, basically, like all the big tier 1 tournaments we qualified to. But at the same time, like, we had obviously a lot higher hopes coming into that team. Like, that was the first time I'm being in-game leader. I came from NIP. We used to win more than what we did in this team. So I felt like it was a very good segment in my life, in my career, I should say. It was a bit of a reality check. Like, okay, you can't just, join another team and expect to be the best in the world anymore, or like, go and win all the tournaments. At the same time, we had a lot of fun. Like, it was weird traveling between Europe and NA all the time. We had to travel there and play all the tournaments, but I'd say it's still probably the least. I mean, in my career, it's probably the worst I've ever done, or how to say it. Like, in that team, it was probably like we could have done a lot better.
If I remember, that team was kind of doing okay, and then just suddenly fell apart, and was like some story that you wanted to pick up Dennis, but then something, and then suddenly the team doesn't exist. That's how I have it from, like, in my brain.
Yeah.
After like an ECS in Cancun, something like that. So that was the story that I have in my brain. Everything else I forgot.
I don't think the team. In a way it worked, and it could have worked, but I think the team needed maybe a player change or so, and it didn't happen. And then, like, people start talking to other teams, and like it felt like it wasn't the final team, which is gonna be, this team is gonna bring me to fame and glory. It felt like a board for some players to maybe get to the next stage. And for example, for Magisk, he went from that team and joined up with Astralis, so
worked out.
It worked out, So, but as I said, like, it was a big disappointment, but we had a lot of fun, and we weren't as bad as people say we were, if you put it that way. I think we were rank 11. I think.
Yeah, you were like a top 15 team.
Yeah,
pretty consistently. It was like a decent team.
Like, we always made it to like the big tournaments because of the NA qualifiers, which gives you confidence, and then you just you play CS. It's not rocket science. Right.
All right, next one. Heroic 2018.
I'm gonna go and put favorite teammate. I mean, oh no, I'm gonna leave that to Mr. f0rest. So, biggest surprise is 2018 Heroic, and I mean, for me, it was also an eye opener. I came from EU Optic, and I joined a team which played basically all the qualifiers, like smaller tournaments. We played all the qualifiers to the big tournaments, and eventually, like, we made a lot of changes in that team. But in the end, we got like Tag, we got BlameF, we got Staven, and had NATO joining in. And then eventually, I think we did fairly well. Like, we qualified for all the big tournaments, or like not all, but majority of all the big tournaments, and then we did fairly well at them. Like, we were a team that no one wanted to play against, and that it's a pretty good feeling. Like,
especially
I remember,
Navi.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we knocked out Navi a couple of times. I think Edward hates him.
Hey, you ended his career, right?
Yeah, I mean, but yeah. it was also a fun team to play in. Like a lot of different personalities. I had to learn Danish. Like we had so much fun with that. Like me learning Danish. Oh, but yeah, I still like I see a lot of similarities to my team today to what we did back with Heroic, and yeah, once again, super good team for me to play in, definitely. But it also felt like it was time to move on after I think it was like a year and a half there.
Alrighty.
Oh, wait, it was the biggest surprise. Yeah, it was a good team to play in. Like, yeah, I was happy there.
I remember you guys at a Pro League season, and was it Leicester?
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, I remember you were loving it. You guys were getting real fired up. That's when NATO was getting thrown around like by blame. You know, it was quite the disparity aside there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you kind of spoiled the next one, but do you want to give us the why for the Dignitas 2021?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with favorite teammate, and it's gotta be f0rest. He's just like, you can't wish for, I think, a better teammate than f0rest. Like he's just works really well with a team. He's mature, but at the same time loves having fun. As I said earlier, he's probably feels like he's the youngest person in the team when we're on TeamSpeak and just fooling around. And he's obviously a god of CS, so I'm super happy to have been able to play with him for many years in my career now, and to get to play with him again in Dignitas now is just blessing. Or
I wouldn't mind asking this one. Do you think f0rest is breaking the rules, right? In terms of he's 33 now and he's still playing at a high level, right? He's your highest rated player, right, of your team as it is right now. Do you think he's breaking the rule or he's setting the rules?
He's setting the rules for sure. But then again, there are different sort of players who plays the game. You have talent and you have people that's grinding, playing like super much CS, and f0rest is just a talent. Like he has kids now. Like when we're sitting maybe playing FPL or playing DM, he's just chilling with his family. Then he joins the server and just owns everyone. So he's never been that player either who sits and warms up for 2 hours before an official game. He's just it's more about the mood for him, I think. But yeah, he is setting a new landscape basically for you don't have to quit only because you're 25 anymore like you did when like 20 years ago. You can play CS for longer. It's more about like the will and the time that you put in. It's not easy for him either. He has 2 kids now to figure out like everything with his family and playing, but he's making it work.
Okay, nice. All right. Well, that brings to the end of the Parimatch Matchmaker little quiz-a-rooney. And I guess right now we'll let you go, Adam. Now, before you do go, first of all, thank you very much for joining us here on the show. It's been great to have you and pick your brain, and looking forward to seeing you guys at the RMR in just under a week's time. So that'll be fun. But to the fans, to the viewers, to anybody out there, do you have a message? Do you want to say anything? The floor is yours right now.
No, basically just thank you for having me, and thank you for all the people watching as well, and for all the support, and share for us in the RMR, and hopefully have us playing in front of the Swedish crowd. I know that both me and f0rest, we said that we would that would be like a dream come true to be able to play a major in the globe in Sweden. So make sure to share for us, and hopefully we'll see you there.
Beautiful. All right. Well, Adam, we're going to let you go right now. And me, Prophet Striker, will just keep this one going for, maybe 15 minutes longer, boys? Yeah, maybe sure. 20? All right, and we'll get this one done and dusted. So thank you to friberg for joining us.
Thank you. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Goodbye. All right, what are you laughing at, Prof? What's so funny, mate?
Lucas's noise when you said like 15, maybe 20. Like,
that Lucas noises.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, look, we'll try and make it quick for you, Lucas, all right? I got something.
That's what she said.
Just one more match, please. Yeah, I'll be there.
Did you put that at the air, or was that just to us?
All right. Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, the viewers at home, they love listening, or they wouldn't hang around. But that was great having friberg. Now let's dive back into some of this update stuff, because I think that's what we want to sink our teeth into, right, boys? Now,
go for it.
Striker, you wrote an interesting article today.
Yep.
There was quite a funny tweet that came out, but basically it was yourself, Moses, and Steeko having a little bit of a conversation about the most recent update. Can you give us the TLDR of yours, Jason, Steeko, just the sentiment of all the bits and bobs, and then we can grab off of those and have a chat.
Right. Well, I guess I'll start with Moses because that's like the one that I got first. Basically, like, he's also on par with it's not as game breaking as people think. Like, all these things that people bring up, like, stacking nades on Inferno, on B-side Inferno, is probably not going to happen as much as people think, and it's not as strong as people think. It's just over exaggerated, right? That's kind of like the sentiment. He obviously wasn't very happy about the timing. I'm actually kind of surprised that this isn't a bigger thing among the players and stuff like that it came so close to the RMR, but that's something that he mentioned as one of the concerns. And he's also kind of like, it seems like he's a little bit on the fence about whether you should be able to drop grenades like everywhere at any time, whether it should just be reserved for buy time or something like that. So that was basically his view, kind of TLDR. Steeko kind of gave us an insight into practice as well, because he obviously has had the chance to play a little bit on the patch. So he's had some time, and he's even kind of confirmed that like stacking utility on like the key areas is already happening. That was like the big thing that he said in his part, and as like part of his take. Well, let me see. I'm just like trying to look at the. Yeah, I mean that was basically like the biggest part of it, I guess, from Steeko's point of view. Me, I was also kind of like trying to go against like a lot of the people that said like, oh my god, this is such a sick change, this is so game breaking, this is going to be like a crazy, like, and stuff like that, you can't read the game anymore. I feel like, I was a little bit more tempered in that. I feel like it's not as game breaking. It's not going to be, it's more of a niche, the stacking grenades in certain areas, especially like the really extreme situations that people bring up, like the five nades in one place and stuff like that. That's really, I think, only going to happen in niche situations. Maybe after the first couple of weeks, when people try it out and figure out that it's maybe not as powerful as people might believe, to have all sorts of utility on B side on Inferno and have none on the A side, even if you have 4 players there. Like, obviously, that's just creates so many weaknesses that like the other team can exploit. And in terms of reading the game, I think there's still ways you can kind of tell how many people are in a site, even though you see like certain utility landing. Like there's tells that you can still pick apart in terms of like the timing of the utility and stuff like that. And also, like, obviously the mind games that go with that. Like, people are going to try to do some shit like 5 people coming up banana and one guy make it look like one guy is throwing in all the utility, right? And then just like exploding onto the site, trying to fake the fake, essentially. Like, that's the idea, right? So like that's something that I'm kind of like excited to see. And also like the more normal stuff that we were discussing as well, where just a few key utility is going to be left in a certain spot, like CT spawn or something like that, so the rotator can just like run back and forth and just like support either side based on what they need, right? Just like kind of like reasonable stuff that you can do with the updates. So that's kind of my view on it.
Yeah, that covers a lot of it there, Prof. Do you have any thoughts on that are outside of what Striker's brought up here?
Yeah, I think there are going to be like a lot of these things that are going to develop over time that are kind of these niche gimmicky things, which are going to allow teams to be more creative, especially
more options.
So I don't see it as a bad thing. And especially, I agree with Striker's general point and what people said, that it's not as big as people try to make it. I think the biggest thing that people are kind of overlooking is that people want to have utility. Like, you want to have it on you most of the time, because you never know what's going to happen. I actually think like people are focusing on the CT side a lot. I think the T side is where you can use it more, because as the Ts, you can plan what you want to do, right?
Sure.
And then maybe on some positions you don't need as much utility, or you don't need certain utility. Maybe you need 2 flashes, but you don't need a molly. You can leave that to someone else, or you can leave nades. Let's say if you want to nade stack, you can throw your nades. Let's say on overpass, you can leave your nades and spawn. People go for a nade stack and then go back and do another nade stack. Like 15 seconds later.
Overpass.
Yeah, on overpass. What did it?
He said overpass.
I was just. Yeah, sorry, my brain's catching up.
So I was like, did I say something wrong? So no. But these kinds of situations, I feel like that is where it can help. But at the same time, going from a position to another position to drop a nade takes time. Like you don't want to, like, let's say on overpass, if you're still on that map, map control early on as T is super important. Like if you do a 4-man stack with the fucking op boost, you lose so much map control. So if you're gonna be doing stuff like that with nades, where you're gonna, instead of pushing up on A, finding like map control over there, you're gonna fuck around with nades. That's not gonna be, I don't think that's it doesn't outweigh the benefit of just having map control, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the general point. I think there's going to be a lot of gimmicks and specific positions. Let's say Mirage AAPS lurker doesn't really need you to T. That guy can leave it on T spawn, so that can
Entry
be
fraggers as well, though.
Yeah, that's also a thing. Like especially if you're low and you want to run in and you have 4 nades, you can just drop them and rush in.
Even if you want to go for an aggressive peak, if you're an AWPer and you want to go for a peak, you leave all your nades behind. If you die, your teammates can get them, and you don't lose. Whereas if you died before, you would have dropped 1 nade.
Yeah, that's a big thing. That's where I think maybe in that way we'll have significantly more utility, but significantly is like 2 or 3 more nades.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 more nades per round used, but I don't know if that'd
be a good metric though. You're actually onto something there, like in terms of looking at how much, because there's technically extra utility available every round, right?
Yeah, because people die with utility, right? And
well, no,
you only drop 1.
I mean, compared to before, because now we discussed this before the show. Now in a round, if I wanted, I can buy 2 flashes of smoke, a molly, drop a flash, buy a HE, and then come back for the flash later.
Yeah, because before you could only have like 4 max and you couldn't drop. So only maybe on Mirage you could throw the smoke at the beginning of the round instantly and you buy another nade. So you can have you essentially have 5 utilities in 1 round.
I just want to make something clear, because a couple of people in our chat, as I can see it here, are like, oh, you could just buy 5 flashes, right?
Yeah, no.
Like, you can only buy 2 flashes, 1 smoke, 1 HE, and 1 Molotov as one individual. So let's say that I win the round and I want to drop Striker a rifle and I want to drop him full utility. I can't, because then I won't have any utility. But if I wanted to drop Striker, I'm like, fuck, well, Striker's going to play this position. He really needs the Molotov. I'll give Striker the Molotov and I'll just stick without a molly, right? Yeah. I can hook you up with that, but I can't otherwise, right? So that's really important. Someone's saying he's talking about all teammates dropping a flash. Someone earlier was asking if you can buy outside of the limit. But I'm talking to chat. Sorry, Striker. I'm becoming too much of a fucking streamer.
All right. I mean, I like the ones where you can just like drop utility so you can take an aggressive peek, or you just like keep like 1 piece of utility on spawn, just so like, because in a position that you play, like Mirage apps, like Prof was talking about, like you can't really use it much. Like you can basically like use a molly, maybe you can use a flash, but like you're not going to throw like execute utility from apps and Mirage and stuff like that, because there's just nowhere to throw it from. Like it's just impossible. Like you can molly under dark and that's pretty much it. Like that's all you can do from apps. So you can just like leave the other utilities to somebody else who can use it for like the actual execute, or like for B guys, whatever you want, right? So like that, like these kind of like little scenarios where they just open up more possibilities for the T's, and just like more elaborate executes and stuff like that, more thought through, like more well planned out and stuff like that. This is all stuff that I really like. Obviously, like the gimmicks are going to be interesting. Like something that somebody brought up was just like people just leaving like nades on vertigo, CT spawn and shit like that. Just like buying every other utility, but like buying nades on top. And just like dropping that in spawn so they can just use it for retakes, like that sort of stuff. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not super happy about it.
But
like,
that's
I feel
also
like
a thing that like you have maps on where CT rotation, like CT spawn is very used, and on some other maps it's not that used. On Vertigo, it's a very active position, but it's also a position on Vertigo that T's can go into. Like it's not that often, but it's not very rare.
Not impossible, yeah.
Yeah, it's like fairly common to at least 1 or 2 times per map that a T is going to be there. So I'm not sure how much you want to put. Like if that becomes a thing, then that area is going to be more contested from the T's, because
Maybe.
that's an important part. I think that's kind of cool, right? It's nothing bad with that.
I'm just not sure about like people like trying to use that consistently, right? Like, I mean, then again, Vertigo is probably. I'm trying to think of the other maps. Like, Because obviously, like overpass, impossible. Like you let T's take a site, and you just lose all your utility.
Well, on Inferno, you also do CT spawn splits, right?
Yeah, sure you do. But like some of these maps are obviously easier than others. Like Dust 2 also kind of possible to reach the CT spawn and stuff like that. Not so much for the CTs the other way around, I guess. But that's not really relevant so much. But it's just like Vertigo is one of the few where it's not super active. Like you don't really see T's entering that space until it's like super late round where they just like flying through CT and stuff like that. Like you don't really enter that in a 5v5 or like a 3v3, 4v4 scenario a lot of the time. So like some of these maps are just going to be used more than others. And I'm not sure how I feel about like being able to use like an extra nade on top of, or like an extra grenade on top of what we could have so far.
I want to see how badly it is, because still, it's not like 3 nades instantaneously. There's a nade, pick up the next nade, throw the nade, pick up the next nade, throw the nade, right? So like you're able to crowd control for a period of time, right? I'm interested.
Someone can just peek you and kill you, right? Someone can run through a smoke. There are so many options that people also need to take into consideration. And there's also the economy factor, right? People are talking about as if these nades are just come out of thin air. Someone has to pay for this.
Yeah,
kids, we can't afford these nades. If you want to, you want to buy 5 nades every round and throw them on the ground to use them maybe once or twice per half. That's a shit ton of money that you're throwing away. If you don't know that you're gonna win every fucking round, like you're gonna be eco. That's 1,000, 1.5.
It's 1,600 on the CT side.
1,500,
$300 for an 8 times 5, right?
What? Oh no, I was talking for an individual player on the CT side to buy a full bag of nades.
Okay.
Would cost
Okay.
Sorry,
I'm talking about like the extra nades for the entire team.
Yeah, 1.5k per round. Put that like 5 rounds. That's like a full buy op utility, whatever. So
I don't know. I think that it's kind of been blown out of proportion in a lot of this stuff.
How about shooting nades in air with gun for delivery? Let's fucking go. That is possible though.
Yeah.
Like you could one guy can on overpass A side, you like throw a nade, the other guy shoots it and gets delivered down on B.
I didn't think about that actually.
I saw the clip of the guy like throwing the flash, right? Like dropping
like passing it over.
Yeah. Like that seems kind of funny. Like I'd be curious to see if people are turning away from the flashes every time they see them like that. Every time, it doesn't get the pin doesn't get pulled.
That's actually something that Moses brought up as well in his take, and I didn't see that. I didn't understand until I kind of like heard it from him and realized what it means. Like that you can just like what you do with a pistol, right? Like with like the fake flash.
You can also
can actually do this with a fucking flash now.
You can pull the pin as well.
Oh,
and
like, then G it.
And then G it,
okay. So
I think that's kind of fucked up.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty filthy. Someone was asking if you
does it look different? I'm sorry, I didn't see the actual clip. Does it look any different if you underhand it or if you just toss it?
I think it must look differently.
The trajectory seems a bit weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think
if you can tell the physics. Yeah. Because like I guess like basically like if you imagine throwing a card or something, like that's how it looks, and instead of doing like the what is it called, parabolic whatever. So like that would be funny if there's like a different mechanic so you can tell what kind of a throw it is, right? Like if it's an underhand or if it's like a left click or if it's an actual like drop. So I think that's fine as long as you can tell what it is, right? Like if
it'll catch you off guard though.
Yeah, if it makes you like turn for like a quarter of a second just because before you realize that was like the wrong thing, or like that was just not an actual throw.
If you're like full on close facing to the screen and something just comes across, right? You're gonna react, right? But
or you won't if you're a boomer like
I don't turn. I'll take the flash. Fuck it. Good luck.
Maybe just like run through it so it doesn't hit you.
Someone was asking about the incendiary situation.
Which one?
Like
the one that the one that I tweeted at you about, Prof. What, like if you had a smoke or whatever, or a Molotov from a previous round, right? Like I was playing a FACEIT game yesterday on the new update where my teammate carried across a Molotov. We were on the CT side of Vertigo. He had a full set of nades and a Molotov he carried across. And I said, drop me the molly and rebuy yourself an incendiary. So he dropped me the molly and he couldn't rebuy himself an incendiary. So, right, like he was
can't
tapped
abuse
out.
that,
yeah. So that's good. Like the fact that we can't just have like excess utility, like that's good. That is one of the really key things that I think is really important. And
Yeah, I
then
mean, you basically like need to add time onto the round to kind of counterbalance that. Like that's not something we want to do.
yeah. So
One thing I
that's
don't
avoided.
know, I don't know about. Maybe it should be revisited by Valve. Is just like the rolling physics of nades. Because if you want to drop these things, they kind of fall awkwardly.
That's what we want.
And then they're just gonna roll
Yeah.
the fuck out of somewhere.
100%.
It's like it feels like kind of random. Doesn't
I like
fit.
that.
Because the C4 doesn't roll. It just drops and you can't shoot it. You can't do shit with it. And these things you can. I feel like it's not consistent.
But don't you think it kind of helps a little bit with how people think it's going to be used in an overpowered fashion?
Yeah,
Like imagine
right.
if
It's
you
just like
you
on
stack all
Vertigo.
your nades. Okay, guys. Well, we've watched the demos. Vitality, they put their stockpile of nades in this position. Hey,
like the
fuck
Vertigo
it.
thing, you could legit nade that out
Nade
pretty
it.
easily.
See you later. They're
Like
off
with
the map.
the smoke
They're
wall
gone.
in the mid and deep nade, you could probably hit the spot.
Gone. Off the map. Completely gone. Right? Like you could do that cheese shit. Like it's like just cheese in the cheese. Like it's possible.
Right.
But
Yeah,
it's,
I mean, I don't
just
mind
more layers.
I don't mind it like being like you can obviously move guns like drop guns with like nades or like shoot them back. That's fine. But if they roll on their own, I'm not so sure about that either. Like it's obviously like you'd have to find like very very specific spots to throw them so they don't roll away, right? Like you just have to like that becomes like another game in a game. And I'm not sure if I like that entirely because like you it would only be useful in specific spots because like in others it just rolls off the fucking place in a completely different spot. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I also wouldn't want like to lose nades on Vertigo just because there's a fucking edge that it can actually just go over and you lose utility that you try to drop to a teammate. I even saw the fucking bug with the pause that Sticko I think brought up on Twitter where they just dropped utility on the ground on Vertigo and a pause came in and like the nades just rolled away and off the map or something like that. So
shit.
obviously like this kind of stuff kind of needs to be addressed at least to a certain degree. I don't know if it needs to be removed entirely. I don't know. I think it's it's kind of a funny mechanic to the game.
Definitely wait and see how it develops. I feel like it could be pretty annoying.
I think it would be funny as fuck, but at the same time, do we want the game to just like fuck you over like this way? I'm not sure.
I want to see this. Is what I want to see. I want to see how many players and teams do it, and then how many of those players and teams are successful.
Right.
That's what we need to see, right? Because if it doesn't work and people are like, oh, this is going to be such a problem, and then it has the like 1 in 15 of like a thing it pays off, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But let's say the other 15 times or the other 14 times it doesn't work. Yeah, whatever. Like one of the things I think Kassad tweeted about was the fact that like on a force by now, you're the guy getting dropped the AK, right? You can drop your teammate's utility.
Yeah.
And you can literally just be the sharp end of the attack and they can flash for you and they can set you up. I think that's cool.
Yeah, I think that's very good. I think that's a good mechanic.
I don't think that's bad. I think that facilitates more. It gives it's more about teamwork. It's more about playing together, right?
Also being more creative about it, right? Like having a better plan, and then just like having better teamwork, as you were saying. So I definitely like those. I like that aspect of the change 100%. I wanted to bring up something and I forgot what it was. So
was it the timing?
Oh yeah, I know now. I think in general, I mean, depending on how much this is going to be used, how much people are just going to drop utility in a certain spot where like essentially they're not available on hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this could speed up the game to a degree just because of T's now having opportunities to take advantage of certain areas where like CTs don't have enough utility because they left it in another spot, for another site where the utility is a little bit more useful. Like imagine Inferno, right? Like the biggest map that people are talking about this change. Like okay, even if one CT just leaves their smoke for the B site, right? Like or two, let's say only the pig guy leaves his smoke and molly because it's kind of like the most important spot to have it in. So like only that guy keeps his Molotov and smoke, and the other two just throw it on the CT spawn and just wait for like whoever needs it, right? Like that gives you bracket control like almost immediately. Like you can't really defend brackets without utility. Like at least early into the round, like you kind of need the utility to slow it down because T's can use 2 smokes on each side and they just have automatic bracket control. You can't do anything about it. You don't have the molly to drop in front of their feet once they start that execute, right? So like situations like this, obviously it's not going to be in general because not everybody is going to do this. But like situations like this are going to open up opportunities for the Ts to use those gaps in CTs where they just don't have enough utility available on the site. So I think as much as people think it's going to make things like super awkward in situations, like it also opens up avenues in other sides in the map where it's just going to be very useful. So there's always going to be pros and cons to every like one of these strategies where you just leave utility just lying around. Like if you think about how much rounds are just getting decided by like the right Molotov dropping at the exact right moment, like that's basically how Astralis dominated the game for an entire year, like being mega good with utility. Like if you think about Glaive and what he was doing like all the time, or maybe Zipex even, like they were so good with utility and they basically like won rounds entirely based on that, just having exact seconds where they want to drop utility. Like this kind of stuff that we almost take for granted now because of how Astralis kind of like brought it into the game, like that wouldn't be possible if you just started doing this like and dropping utility on spawn just for other people to take. So like that's something that people need to start taking into consideration and not thinking just like dropping utility on spawn is just going to become a thing now.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be obviously specific situations, but it's gonna be curious, right? The timing of this, obviously, you mentioned what Moses said about it. I think ideally we would like to have a bit more time. Like if we could pick, the player break would be perfect, right? Like sorry, the tournament break would be perfect. But we can't pick. We're not the game dev. We don't decide when the updates happen. They do, and I think that it's better we get on with it than we delay it because we have this RMR event. Sure, it's a very important event and the teams are qualifying for the major.
Not more important than the major, yeah.
Exactly. And that's the point. The major is going to be 10 days after that. So I know it's not ideal, but it's better to bite the bullet and just fucking get on with it, right? Than it is to go, okay, well, we won't play the event. The teams who I think I saw someone tweeting about it today is that these last teams who are playing in this Blast Fall group, they're the ones who have it the worst, right? Because they have to try and find practice on the old patch or just play on the new patch, right? And whatever they're coming up with, just forget it for potentially three best of threes. So that kind of sucks. But there's no way around this. Prof, do you see a way? Like we're never going to have.
I mean, we could technically have Blast like use the new update for Group C. I know they wouldn't want to do it. I doubt that they wouldn't want to do it, but that would be probably the least bad solution to these teams. At least, like at least they have one thing to do. Like obviously, like they only have like 1 day or whatever, 2 days to actually play on this patch, and it's just like the group just becomes fucking like mental, right? Like people are just thrown in with barely any practice on the new patch. But at the same time, like it's almost better than having like forcing them to stay on the old patch for 3 days and then like going immediately into the RMR with the new patch and then not having any time.
To be honest,
for that.
Yeah.
So
the changes aren't that big.
Dust 2.
In all
I mean, the Dust 2-1 is the rough one, I think.
Dust 2, yes. Dust 2, yes. That's actually fucked. Ancient isn't. Yeah, Dust 2 is the fucked up part.
Like even the nade dropping, right? Like
I don't like
having 1 day.
I'd be fine with that. Like that doesn't change how you're gonna play.
Everyone's in the same point,
and everyone's at the same position. And on Dust 2, it's fucked because some people have Dust 2 as their best map. Some people have as their fourth best map.
Gotcha.
So that's why I think it's not fair.
Yeah, it's a weird one. But look, I'm really excited we get to see the update almost immediately. Like imagine if this happened at the start of Pro League, then we wouldn't get to see any tier 1 games on this for fucking a whole month. So at least this year, it's like bang, we're gonna get straight into it. We get it on LAN as well. Like I know, right? And people are compounding this with the best of ones, the RMR, and there's gonna be so many.
To be honest, I don't understand this format for IEM Fall at all.
Well, when I made the format, when I was there in the office and I was looking around, I was going Ralph Reichardt, I was like Torble, I was like looking around, I was looking at everyone in the ESL office.
Like, these round robins, we need to change something.
I was like, you guys
let's
are not
make the
paying
best
me,
of one.
are not paying me enough money to be doing best of threes all day. I want best of ones. So they changed the format just for me, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of the best of one round robin groups, I can't tell you. Personally,
only 2 teams advancing. It's gonna be a shit show. It's gonna be amazing.
I think, right? I think it's gonna be some hectic 2 weeks where there is some tears. There will definitely be some tears by the end of this. Now, maybe not caught on stream, but there will be some fucking tears. Like it's not all going to plan.
Used car salesman. See these dents? This is character. It's a car with character.
It's
This is
not
a
all
weird-
going to plan.
This
It's
is a
really
weird
not.
thing because I don't know if I can say this. I guess I can, because it got confirmed to us. But like Carbon said on that they got confirmed to him that the round robin is going to have different tiebreakers, and there's actually going to be additional matches if there's like if there are ties around the line, the qualifying line. Like there's going to
Okay.
be actually additional matches played. I assume we can say this. I don't think it's a big problem.
Okay.
But like I actually went into the rules and it says it has the same like tiebreakers listed as before, like where it just goes points, map difference, number of map wins, which obviously you don't care about because best of one. Overall map difference, same thing. Overall number of ones, round score difference is 6. That's the first, but that's like there's no rematches until after round difference or whatever. So like it doesn't compute in terms of what the rules say. So I'm not sure if that's actually true or something, or where he got it from. But that's like I imagine he got it from somebody up high up in ASL. So it's just curious. I don't know if you've heard anything, Chad, about this.
No, I don't even have a flight yet.
Okay, fair enough.
If that tells you what's going on,
Right.
right?
Yeah, because like this doesn't. I just checked the rules because I didn't actually think to before, but they just say this the exact same tiebreakers as they used to, and obviously that would be a big thing. Like having just like 3-way ties or something, fuck the team over just because they lost to the wrong team, but like had enough wins, you know, stuff like that. Like that's always something that I hate with the round robin, and that's like round difference coming down to round difference would be that would fucking suck.
Yeah, for a major spot.
Yeah.
For a major spot, indeed.
Yeah, potentially for a major spot. Yeah, exactly. And it's just like we still haven't, like the worst case scenario for a round robin is a fucking 5-way tie.
Hasn't happened.
Either for the first spot or for the second spot. For the second spot, you could literally decide like the fate of 4 teams.
Yeah.
If the wrong results happen. So that's that. I'm hoping this isn't the tournament where we see it, because that would just be fucked. Even if they play rematches, like it would just throw the tournament in a fucking spin. Like it would be insane. So I'm just hoping that doesn't happen here.
Yeah. I don't know. I look, if I can get into a podcast environment, we'll have a bigger conversation about this on Monday, I believe, 27th. That would be the next one that we're aiming to do if we can.
Right.
And I'll try and get some more information. I'll do my darndest. I'll talk to the people. But otherwise, in terms of the format, I got no information right now on why they've opted to do that. I love the thread the other day, by the way, the fucking Reddit thread. Like these people just
about the format.
Yeah, like the way that this cunt had titled the thread, like ESL cutting corners, you know, like
Oh yeah,
what
I saw
are
that, I
you
remember.
fucking told? Like is anyone else, right? I don't know. This is me talking out of my ass here, but I am talking out of my ass with confidence, and that's why I get paid. But that I don't think ESL could independently decide a format for a major qualifier without Valve looking at the format and saying, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you have to consider that like the schedule is obviously it has to be a big factor in this. Like you're running 24 teams in a round robin format, right? And you kind of have to, because like you can't really use another format with 24 teams that's like reasonable, unless you just like get very creative with it.
You have to do buys and stuff.
Yeah, stuff like that. And you obviously don't want to do that in a tournament that like decides major spots and stuff like that. So like if you're going to end up on 24 teams, which obviously could have been changed, like it could have been 16, right? It could have been different. But like I'm glad that there are more teams who have a chance to get the points, right? So like there's obviously gives and takes. But like the fact that you have to run, what is it? 5 + 4, 15 matches per group. And that's four groups, right? That's 60 matches. Imagine fucking running that in best of 3s like over a week or something like that. Like imagine how long Pro League took. And obviously like you can run consecutive matches and stuff like that, or like running at the same time. But like you would have to have a lot of time to be able to do that. So like to a degree I understand. It obviously sucks because this is like a major and you don't want best of ones just like fucking 4 teams over. But like you have to take these things into consideration.
Okay. All right. Boys, we done?
Yeah, I think we are.
All right. Before we go, Lucas, I'm sending you a link. I'll link it in this chat for everybody. Lucas, bring this up. Bring this up for everybody. Guys, thanks for tuning in tonight. This is the knife I opened. I opened 6 cases, and I opened this knife. So
Congratulations.
Counter-Strike gods, they smile kindly on me. Come on,
Okay.
Lucas. What do you mean it's not working? How am I going
Make
to
it
show?
work.
All right, and there it is. There's the knife, guys. All right. Anyway, quick shout out again to the sponsors: Bitskins, Parry Match, Xtrfy. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for friberg for coming on. Thank you for Lucas for not moaning too much. And if it all works out, we will have another show on Monday, the 27th. Don't count on it, but we'll try. We might see you there. We might not. Peace out. A-Town, West Side. Goodbye.
Add some fun to your space with Xtrfy, designed in Sweden with focus on quality products built on experience. You're looking at Project 4, their 4th generation of products with super cool colorways to stand out, with matching sets to satisfy with a solid B4 bungee, lightweight ergonomic M4 mouse, the K4 keyboard is fantastic, all of which are performance focused, and finish it off with colorful GP4 mouse mats that are bold in design and smooth on the surface. The retro theme in particular has got the feels. Complete your setup with Xtrfy. No regrets guaranteed.
Fist bumps go to the teammates.
I wanna see you falling fast. Win the round. Win the game.
Parry Match, your esports teammate. Hey buddy, let me show you how to fix that. Bitskins.com. Buy and sell skins instantly. Deposit and withdraw funds instantly with crypto or directly to your Visa card. Bitskins.com. The best skin marketplace.